Welcome to the DORKLAIR Collecting live stream. We got another Glyos-centric episode on an off week. I know a lot of people are over watching the Legions ladies right now, but they'll wrap up and we'll get a few more over here. Steph, welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks for having me again.
So this week we have a couple guests on. We've got returning from last time, Godbeast Marty. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys?
Hey.
And we've got newcomer to Glyos who is become an instant expert, and that is Pete McCarthy.
Hey, Pete.
Hey, how we doing?
Excellent.
Hey, Pete.
And let's check in with the chat before we get going here.
There's a lot of people in here.
We got Mark House Seal, Mock the Goblin.
Mark is here, of course.
Andy the Collector. Mark went down the rabbit hole too.
Oh,
a lot of the lead. I think that Infinite Legions announcement really like kind of like made people open their eyes to Glyos a little bit more. We've got Destination Stone in the house, King Castle Sieger, Mock Symbiont, Benji, who again with the giveaways.
Yes,
we've got
Benji.
4 figures from Ben now this time.
That was super cool of you.
So yeah, we got some giveaways. Awesome. It's gonna be pretty sweet. Thank you again, Ben. Mike V, Michael Casper, Dub3, Reynolds Cruz.
Hey.
Andy we said Andy, Pink Lemonade, Mecha Rekka, Noble Bear. What's up, Anthony? Chud Babies. Have I seen that name before? I don't know if I recognize that name.
I recognize it. I recognize it.
Nice.
Keith Holvin, Bat Bomb. What's up, Anthony? Jordan, the Wholesome Warlock, Rabbit's Den, Soth, Ghost 9, Jade Russo. Who else? Scotty Bashotti. That is Maverick, right?
Yeah.
And Van Johnson.
He'll be that for the next week or so because apparently he just hit the limit on changing his name on YouTube.
So, he got stuck with it. That's hilarious. Van Johnson. Trevor is here. Trevor, got that shipment from you. Thank you. And that might be everyone. Groon78, also a name I don't recognize. Furious Figures. That's Everett Miller. And Kirby is here. Andy B, Jurassic Jesse. And what's
Everett?
up, everybody?
Furious Figures? Did you say Everett?
Yeah, I said Everett. Yeah,
okay.
Everett's here. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah, Everett. I know that kid.
I love his builds. He always reminds me. He sends me pictures of what he does, and I love seeing it.
Yeah, and he's like my drop master. He's always messaging me when there's something coming up, which is awesome. All right, so should we start it off with a little bit of some news stuff?
Sure.
I was thinking that what we could do is not necessarily news, but share some of the stuff that's currently in stock. I pulled a few, not everyone, but I pulled a handful. So let's pull this up here. So first of all, again, channel members, we went from in the 70s to 120 in the last 2 months or so, which is just kind of blowing my mind. So
that's awesome.
Thank you so much to the channel members. That is awesome. And the super chats from last week from Rob, Jesse, and Kevin. Thank you, everybody.
Gee.
Much appreciated. Kind of keeps things going here. So I pulled up a few things it's not all necessarily new stuff. This is one of the newer pieces, but things that are in stock at various makers' sites. So we've got O'Neill with the Captain Corsaric that is currently in stock.
Bill, first figure I ever bought.
There it is. Hold on.
You got the Captain, huh?
Yeah.
1 second.
The brown one or the blue one?
I got the blue one right off the table. It was the first one I bought at LegionsCon. So.
Sweet.
And that was the LegionsCon exclusive or whatever.
Exclusive,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
So
I actually
Sweet.
didn't get him. Just
And
the
that's
trans
one of the giveaways, I think.
Is
Hold
it?
on. Oh no, you know what? It's the brown. It's
The
the
brown
brown
guy.
Captain Corsaric.
He's cool though.
So that's one of the giveaways. And let's go back here. That Scarabite Zoloid is another one of the ones that Ben contributed to it. So that's another one, which is also in stock. And that, like, seeing this in hand.
One.
There's only one left?
One.
Oh, jeez.
Yep.
Seeing this in hand,
I mean,
kinda want
seriously,
it
straight
now,
up, I
but
got back.
that'll be gone before I have a chance.
I got back from the 2 cons, but Legions and then Decon back to back, and I had one left. And that's it. They're gone.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that'll be gone. And then the BioBerry Nemesis, I have that up there because I was putting all blue figures on my thumbnail. So that's the one from the thumbnail this week.
Yep.
I wanted a blue theme. I think last time we had the green theme.
Green.
Yeah, we did. Yep.
So those are on your site, Marty, on the Godbeast site, godbeast.com. Is that?
Yep.
Yeah. There's some cool stuff on Toy Pizza. Actually, I should show this stuff. I just got my my Patreon action figure of the Millennium December drop in. I'll show a couple of things from that, but Jesse DeStasio I actually asked him to come on because he was talking about doing like a preview thing for his upcoming event, the Ultra Clash, which is a combination of like Zed Star 7, which is his band, and I think there's a few other, it's like electronic stuff, like a few other bands going up on there. It is this Saturday at a place called the Yard in Beacon, New York. I think this might be the same location where he had his Toy Pizza Expo earlier this year. But yeah, so that's going to be sort of like a meetup for the patrons, the Squires of the Slice. So if you're in that area, like, Western Connecticut, I guess Northern New Jersey, New York State area, New York City area, like up there in that area, that's going to be Saturday night, and they're going to have, let me pull myself up here. Let me remove that, go here, and do this. Yeah. So he's going to have some blacklight reactive new figures, and part of the patrons is we had access to one. So this is the Rebel. I forget the name, the Rebel Unlimited or something like that. Like this new version of his character Rebel that uses some of the newer parts. Like that torso is one of the newer parts from the Sea of Daggers stuff. But yeah, so that's one of the figures that's going to be available at that Ultra Clash, and he's going to have a couple other, and they're all blacklight reactive paints, so they're all pretty neat that way. The other, I'll show one more. I don't know if I'm supposed to really, maybe spoiler alert if you're a
Bill breaking the rules.
Yeah, if I don't know like how he does it for the patrons, but if you're a patron and you want to be surprised by the action figure of the Millennium, this one is, I love this one.
So close your eyes, you're telling me?
Yeah,
close your eyes. Wait, everybody ready? 3, 2, 1. It is a prune face tribute.
What?
So like the vintage prune face colors.
Yep.
And it's sort of like a mishmash, I think, of some different parts from his line, but yeah, that one came in. I love this figure. It's so cool.
And then
I'm a big Toy Pizza fan.
Do you have anything about Cappy Space?
I didn't pull up Cappy Space because I know a lot of that recent stuff sold out already. But let me.
Well, here's one that I know he has in the store, and he ran.
Yeah, that one's still up there. Yep.
My Nemesis, and I put him in a kind of a funky kind of spider creature build.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
I missed that one. The other one, I should have.
Yeah, that is up there.
I don't.
Yep.
It's still.
I mean,
there?
you might have missed it at the show, but it's still there in his store.
It's on. Yeah, it's on the
like
Cappy
that.
Space store.
Okay.
Yeah.
One of the funny things about Cappy Space is when I got back from LegionsCon and I was looking around and finding these places to order some more Glyos from. I made note I didn't order anything from Cappy Space. I hit a couple of other sites up, and I was going through there, and one of the Brine Lords spoke to me, and I was like, I put it on my list. So today I had a handful of figures that I hadn't even put together yet that I wanted to do before the show, and I had one that I bought at LegionsCon.
There you go.
And I didn't even realize that I had it.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Did you buy? Is it a double?
Oh, I bought 2 of them and I didn't know I had them. But
is it a double?
Yeah, it's a double. It's got like 3 other bags of parts. I get so much stuff for this little guy.
I mean, is it a double for you? Like you bought it at the show and then you bought it from his store?
No, I didn't pick it up from the store yet. I just put it on my list of when I do another order, and then I literally built this and was like, "You stupid idiot."
Well, hey, I mean, at least you caught it before you ordered it, right?
I like to tell everybody if they buy doubles and they don't want them, they can just send them to me.
I want to answer Benny's question. I think he's asking about the Knights of the Slice figures. So those are Toy Pizza figures. He has a Patreon, and he'll do like drops in there, and we'll get like first access because we're patrons. But then sometimes he'll drop them for everyone. So like, if you want some of this stuff, and it doesn't sell out, he may put them up on his site eventually. I would, follow him on social media, Toy Pizza Knights of the Slice, and just kind of like pay attention and see if anything doesn't sell out through the Patreon or through his live show, the Ultra Clash. Then he'll probably put stuff up on the site. But it's I think it's knightsoftheslice.com or toypizza.com. One of those.
There's the normal build, Cappy Spaces Nemesis, the standard build.
Yeah, and I ordered that. So funny story is for me about that is at the show I picked up 2 of those restructures, and then I loved them so much that like I ordered all the rest when he put them up online. Everything, all of them. Like it was kind of like a lot of money, but I ordered all of it because I love that construction colorway so much.
Well, the thing about Glyos is whenever you see a colorway that either one company has a lot of molds, say, and Dowdy started this, Matt Dowdy of O'Neill, but if he decided at one point, I remember he ran, and I can't remember if it was, I think it was a green colorway, and he ran all his molds across the board. And I mean, people went in heavy and they ordered multiples. I mean, there was easily big dog collectors that were dropping like $1,000 on the drop.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they just were going nuts. And he had never done that before where he ran all his molds. So one of the colorways that is real popular is that Scarabite. And when I ran mine across the board, I was so confident. Ben Spencer of Galaxor had come up with that Scarabite colorway. And when I got, because I helped prototype his figure back in the day, when I got his vinyl and I looked at it, I was like, holy shit, man, that's like late 80s, early 90s windbreaker colors,
Yes.
And I'm like, dude, that is gonna sell like hotcakes. And so I put in an order across my molds for the first time. And I was so confident that I didn't even bat an eyelash. And then I got them in and pure panic hit me because I'm like, what if everybody doesn't like that colorway as much as I do? And it was a complete sellout within like hours. I mean, it was nuts.
Yeah, it's a great color.
And so ever since then, everybody's been running it with the exception of like, say, O'Neill and Raw Shark, Calgrim. But most everybody else has ran it at least once on one of their molds. But and then I once I ran all my molds, and every time I get a new figure in my catalog, I'll run it because it's a fan favorite. But then it's like, what can I do similar? So I did a reverse. And so I did reverse Scarabite, where the teal blue PVC is swapped with the black paint apps. And so it's black PVC, teal paint.
Okay.
And then the pink areas are yellow green, and the yellow green areas are pink. And so, I'll have something in February, because of Chinese New Year. It'll probably be like early to mid February. I'll have a 2 new figures from another company, a sister company, that finally green-lighted me to run Scarabite and Scarabite Reverse at the same time. So I'm putting that order in as we speak currently. So I'm pretty pumped about that. But yeah, anytime like construction stuff, if you see it and it speaks to you, I'm not saying buy doubles and triples or anything, but buy at least one of everything, because you'll find yourself building more and more when you have
The same colors. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah, that's why I did the insectoid green colorway, because I was like, you know what? I have access to all these molds that I've either helped prototype or ones that I've sculpted myself. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it in waves. I did it in like two different waves, but I ran everything I could. And then the build possibilities, I mean, like that triple build right here, it's like, you know, you can take 3 figures, combine them into one massive build. And that's the best way to do it, is when you see a colorway you like that has that much different characters. Did you see the build that guy did? It was like a construction tank.
Oh,
and
hell
he used
yeah.
the claw off of
that.
necklaces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
Really nuts.
What is it about reverse colorways that just make you have to have both of them?
Yeah, because you know what? When you tear those apart, you can build an all clear red or an all clear black. Yeah.
And
that's it.
black and red's my jam anyways. And I was like, well, you got one, you got to have both of them, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check it out.
And my parts bin, I
That's your
put in
colorway right there,
colors
man. That's what you're
together.
holding in your hand.
Yeah, it's
move.
crazy.
Yeah.
So speaking of Scarabite, we need to start doing the giveaways because we got quite a few. So we'll do that one first. We're gonna do the Scarabite Zelloid. And again, this is from Ben G. Thank you very much. The
awesome.
hashtag is Scarabite. So hope I spelled
That's
that
the
right.
one. That's the one that Jeremy came back to the booth with at LegionsCon. That when I went back, it wasn't there. That's the one that I missed out on. That was the one I pouted for all of Sunday. I was like,
Did you get it though?
I didn't.
Dude, there's one left in the store.
I know that. I know that now. But yeah, no. But the funny part is, Marty, is when I came back from LegionsCon, I didn't know where to find them. Like I said, I literally went through, I'm going through these websites going, man, I bought a bunch of shit from Godbeast only to find out that I talked to you at LegionsCon. I didn't know you were Godbeast. I'm just buying little plastic things to put in my pocket, man.
Dude. That's crazy.
I've got a pen this time to write stuff down to keep track because this is more than I usually do for giveaways. Okay. All right. So Scarabite. Let's go back to this and check out a couple more things. So again, the Ultra Clash, December 7th. Jesse was gonna come on to talk about it, but he's rehearsing tonight, so the timing didn't work out for Jesse either. But if you're in the area, check it out. You know, he's got this Rebel, and then he said there's 3 more figures that he hasn't shown yet that are going to be exclusive to that show and then maybe available online later if they don't sell out or whatever. So yeah. And then some other stuff that's in stock, Geodraxis on the Spaced Out site.
PJ,
Multiple colorways though. Marty mentioned it, the different colorways. I'm like, man, this black one's my favorite. And then the next day I'm like, no, the red one's this stealth one's my favorite. This is a real problem here, man.
It is.
And I'm like, I'm swapping out, in the morning, I'm trying not to wake my wife up as I'm swapping a head or an arm for the day to carry around my pocket Glyos. Like, this is a real issue here, man.
So you do it like you're getting ready for the day and figuring out which Glyos you're going to take with you.
Dude, it's so funny because, everybody has their morning routine, right? So you get your dress, and I do the exact same thing every single morning. Well, since I've been home from LegionsCon, every single day, I've gone to my Trevor Williams lunchbox that I got, my Cosmic Legions lunchbox, and I pull one out and I go, "You're coming with me today, buddy." And so once I got through all the ones I got from LegionsCon, because I haven't been carrying the ones I bought post LegionsCon yet, because I haven't shown them on the show yet. I want to be able to do them on our Thanks UPS Guy segment. So then I'm like, well, I got through all of them in a couple of weeks, so I thought, well, I better start swapping. So I'm like I said, I'm putting the gun arms and I'm swapping heads, and my poor wife is laying in bed. I know I'm making noise, but I'm like, I gotta have a new Glyos.
She's like, what are you doing? She's like, what are you doing? And you're like, I'm playing toys.
Right.
It's like that meme where it's like the couple is laying in bed and the woman is like, he's probably thinking about other women. That meme
that's
there.
what I was thinking about. That's what I was thinking about.
No, and it's a picture of me laying there going, I can't believe they didn't have that teal scarabite at LegionsCon.
I can't believe I didn't know who the Godbeast was.
I literally, he literally, I ended up buying so many packs. I just kept handing it. I said, hey, will you hold these while I buy more? He literally laid them all out on the chair behind the booth and had to count. And him and another, it took 2 people to check me out of his booth. Like it was bonkers, man.
Oh God, I remember that. Oh shit.
All right, so so we had the Geodraxis available, and then this was a decon drop, right?
Yep,
the Battle Tribes. So we have the Eternal Adventurer Champion and the Demonic Overlord Champion, not He-Man and not Skeletor over here. So this is these are on McCTX, and it's a collaboration with Spy Monkey or Man or Monster, the the Battle Tribes and the what's the other one called?
Man or Monster. Warlords of War.
Warlords of War.
Yep.
And I know we
Brandon.
saw Bat Bomb was in the chat here earlier, who's like he's got like, I don't know if it's hundreds, but he's got tons and tons of videos about these guys, and he even has his own I forget which company it is, but he's got one. We got a super chat here from Blake.
Nice.
Godbeast is a great guy. I truly enjoyed the time we spent talking and getting to know one another. I now have the entire Insectoids figured series. There you go. And that's what you were just talking about,
rad.
is that get a
Thank
colorway and go with it.
Thank you. I'm flattered.
Well, and what's funny is I felt the exact same way, only I didn't get to know him. I didn't even ask him his damn name. I was like, color toys, color. Who's this guy? Just give him money. I'm getting out of here before someone else sells out.
Yeah.
That reminds
I just get that
me.
way with the hectic nature of LegionsCon, where like you meet like 10 people in a row and you just can't remember names and stuff.
Well, and I'm going to give props to the Four Horsemen and George Gaspar and Diego and Jeremy, because they set us up in the room next to them, and they had the layout perfect. So the flow at the Glyos tables was so perfect that people could still talk but not be clogging up the front of the tables. It just had a perfect flow. It was probably one of the best setups. That in PowerCon one year, those were probably the 2 best setups we ever had. But it was like it took the stress out of a con for all the makers to be able to talk more to the collectors because of how they had it set up. It was pretty remarkable.
Talk about a make good from the previous year, right?
Oh God, we were facing a wall, and we went down from the first year we had 4 tables, second year we had 2, and then this year it was just like, I don't know, 8 tables, and it couldn't have been laid out better. I mean,
it had a cool wraparound, like you kind of ducked in and then back out again. It was,
and then there was
pretty sweet.
empty corner spots, because where the tables met, that people could stand in the corner and still talk to you, but not be in front of the table. And then we had on my table, at least, we had a side that was way open, so you could literally talk to people over here. I mean, it was awesome. So I really appreciate everything the Four Horsemen, and along with Diego and George Gaspar and Jeremy, helping us get that all laid out. So yeah, it was awesome.
And that's always a struggle as a vendor, because you run into people, you meet new people, you want to chat, you want to talk. And that's a lot of the fun of doing cons. But you also are like, I do want to move product. I paid for a table. There's the business aspect too. And it's very easy to set those areas up to where you only get one or the other. So to be able to have that really is the secret sauce, man, to be able to sell your product and do good, and on the business side, but personally have a riot doing it. I mean, that's a huge win.
Well, and imagine this, Pete. The year before, you knew how many Glyos guys were here this year, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine all those people with 2 tables, and dude, we had like a foot. Dowdy's always like, it's no big deal. We'll make it work. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? I'm like, 1 foot per person, and everybody has big banners and all this stuff, and I'm like,
everybody's more than 1 foot wide, so where do you even stand? Like in front and back behind each other?
Last year when we first came in, I couldn't believe it, because I'm literally looking for it. I find it, and we're facing a wall. and like facing a wall, and two tables, and at least 12 to 14 or so guys behind two tables facing a wall. And there was,
I will say,
they hadn't finished setting up, so there was all this metal stuff in like chairs stacked and all kinds of stuff right in front of our tables.
I will say one thing about that is like, I find when I'm coming down a row and there's both sides, that I always miss someone. Like there's always that, like, you're on one side and you make your way a little bit further down and you get into a conversation, and then it's like you don't realize it, but you've walked right past a table that was like behind you.
Yep.
So I guess the one good thing about that is like whoever went down that row, there was only one side to look at, which I guess that's kind of a benefit. But okay, so then we have a super chat from Hedgehog Action. What's up, Jonathan? About to open my Bog Nerd.
You're gonna open it?
Nice.
I think he's got a pink. I need to know what the color is.
I ended up buying the blanks and then keeping my Bog Nerds in the bags for now. I'll probably open them eventually, but
I have the last purple one, so I won't open it.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought the blanks and then did the color swaps to make like close enough without the eyes or whatever. Cool. Blake says I blame Bill, Nate Baertsch, and Diego for getting me into the line. Oh, there was a point at intern for a day where we were in Diego's office, and it was the three of us, and we were just glyosing out in Diego's nerd room of an office. It was awesome.
Dude, Diego showed up at Chicago Toy Show in Kane County last spring. And I can't remember, the Horsemen were set up in another building, I believe. And Diego comes running through, and I'm like, hey, man, I got something that you can get first cracks at. And my buddy Gabe Berrigan had an unholy amount of extra Glyos. I mean, doubles, literally doubles. And Diego was like a kid in a candy store. And the pile that he amassed was ridiculously massive. And my boy Gabe was like, I told him to make sure he took care of Diego, and boy, he did. I think Diego was shocked at the prices he got for the stuff. But Diego left there with a box full of stuff. I mean, it was crazy. I don't even know how he got it back home.
There was a moment like that at LegionsCon this year where Jeremy, it was really right towards the end, like Sunday afternoon, you know? And Jeremy, so I was at Trevor's table, and right across from Trevor's table was Jeremy Gerard's Mythic Customs table, and he goes, Bill, come over here, check this out. And he pulls this, like, I feel like it was bigger than a gallon bag, but it was that type of bag, you know? It was like this massive plastic bag, and it was just full. It was just full of loose Glyos.
Wow.
And he goes, dude, I just traded some exclusives for all of this. And it was like this it was like,
nice.
And he just,
I bet that was Gabe, because Gabe brought the rest of the stuff, and he had it in the suitcase, and he had them in bags. And I know Gabe was up with some exclusive Horseman stuff, and I'll guarantee you it was Gabe.
That probably was. I doubt Jeremy's watching. It's past his bedtime. But
Bill,
ask him.
Bill, I do have to say, I want the listeners to understand what it is we deal with on our podcast. So you brought that up, like a gallon bag. You kind of described it, and immediately the question from Maverick is, like a 2-gallon bag? Who cares, Maverick? What does that add to the story? That's what we deal with every Sunday on our podcast.
I've never had a 2-gallon bag. I didn't even know they made them.
Yeah, they make great big ones.
What's really funny is these guys are people are talking about it's their fault they got into this. It's their fault they got into this, and so our show, My Wife's Gonna Kill Me podcast. And for those of you that watching, if you don't watch us, if you enjoy DORKLAIR, Legions Lounge, Legions Lair, that kind of stuff, do not listen to us. You're not gonna like us. But so Jeremy DeWitt is a big Glyos guy, and for years he's been bringing these Glyos figures in, and I have literally been going, it's garbage, throw it in the trash. For the most part, it's Motu related, and there's a shtick on the show. I'm not a Motu guy, and of course we overplay that because I don't care about Motu. So it's been this running joke. So I just kind of dismiss it. There's a few times I've been like, I get it, it's cool. Being a TMNT guy, I the colors, I understand all of it. So this has been going on for years, right? So we are at LegionsCon. Nate Baertsch goes, what, you don't have a pocket Glyos? Pulls out his pocket Glyos, and then Matt gets up during G-Con, and I'm like, this is our kind of guy. Like the passion he had for his craft and what he was doing. I immediately liked Glyos because I immediately liked Matt. So then I get over there and I'm looking and I pick up a couple. I bought 36 Glyos at LegionsCon this year.
Wow.
And again, I met Marty Godbeast. Didn't realize it at the time, but so it became this running joke. Jeremy is of course super pissed because I've been telling you for years. So then all of our listeners jump on the bandwagon and everybody's going, Jeremy, why didn't you ever tell Pete about this? And that's where this has all come from.
Like,
Literally from Nate Baertsch going, you guys don't have a pocket Glyos?
Yep.
And it's taken on a life of its own. And like I said, I'm sitting here now with 40, 50 Glyos around me, and you guys are talking about this one, and I'm pulling it up going, I got that one too. Yep, I got that one too.
Yep.
And all because it was this community of people that enjoy getting together and having a good time, and they're plastic figures, man. How cool is that? You know
what's funny? So you say that, and I hear this a lot from people. They're like, I don't understand Glyos. And I get that. That's a legitimate thing. But once you have one in your hand, and usually it's a color that appeals to you to even pick it up or buy it. Once you have it, and then you start, popping stuff off and start building, and then you get Glyos immediately because you see that it's modular, and then you see that you can build out of one deluxe kit. That kit that you held up, when you can build stuff like that, then you get Glyos because you're like, you know what? I can build that. And it's like, yeah, sure. There's a learning curve to the parts. And I tell everybody the best thing to do is yeah, exactly. But I tell everybody, I'm like, it's as simple as this. It's the same figure. Take the parts apart and lay them on the table, all blown apart, and then reconstruct it. That's all you got to do is just put the parts in different places. Those are the same parts, same figure, painted differently, built differently. And it's the same way with this. There's another one. Different build, same figure. All three of these figures are the exact same figure, same parts. But like that's what kills me is like I'll see a podcast and I'll see somebody say something like, "Oh, those are like Happy Meal toys, or those should be a lot cheaper." Well, once you blow the parts apart, once you build with it, and you see that it's Matt's creation. I told this last show when I first met Matt Dowdy. He said, "I have a vision of having a toy shelf with all my friends' toys made at the same factory using my same joint system so that I can literally go pull one of my friends' toys off my shelf, pull another one off, pop the parts apart, mix them together, match them, whatever, and build something." And that was his vision. And that's what he's done to this day. I think Matt's been in business for like 17 years now. I mean, Glyos is so not new.
It's such a huge parts library too.
Yeah, his parts library.
Huge. Yeah.
His catalog of molds, his builds. I mean, Matt's the OG builder. I mean, modular toys are not a new concept, but what Matt did is he took things like socket poppers and stuff like that. You can even go as far as like Legos, building toys, and he took it to an organic and an action figure level that's way beyond. I mean, I guess Bionicle and stuff you could say, but because he's involved. All these people he's known for years or befriended over the years, and then helped them get their toys made, but all using his joint system. No matter how Battle Tribes being more like an action figure or Outer Spaceman or any of these figures, Knights of the Slice. You can go on and on about the character specific. Some are more functional for building. Some are more character specific. But bottom line is everything can be with a little bit of like sitting down and letting your mind erase your concepts of what an action figure is, and you can build anything with it. And so it's funny that you say that about them telling you for years. That you said Jeremy DeWitt.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I've heard that hundreds and hundreds of times. And all I can do is like sometimes at a show when it's a little slower, I can sit and be building something and show somebody and take the time to show them what you can do with just like one figure. There's so many, these are called contained builds when you take one figure and then you pop all those parts off and then you rebuild it like this. That's a contained build using all the same parts. There's no leftover parts. And so when you can show them that and go, see, then they're like, oh shit, now I understand them.
Well, when you said when you build it, you get it, right? And that makes so much sense because this is the first one that I built when I got home. So this one, now
You
this
put the
figure here,
tentacles on the legs there.
well, so
Okay.
that's the funny part, right?
Okay.
So this was built sitting there, and I was like, I
Sure.
gotta have that. Well, they sold it to me loose in a plastic bag. So I got home and I put it together and I went, this thing's kind of cool. Well, I went to do a little bit of research to find out where it came from, realized I didn't build it anyway like it is in the photo,
That's right.
but it doesn't matter because I built it my way.
Yep.
So then today I'm getting ready to come on the show, and I put the claws as the legs as in the photo, and this is different than the build there. It's different than my build. It's different than the one that's shown. You build it, you get it. Like, that makes perfect sense to me. And I'm like, okay, I understand, you know. This is another one that is never going to go in your pocket, like you mentioned before we started the show, you know. A lot of these are
come
absolutely
on, man. Where's your sense of adventure?
A lot of these are dangerous, you know. I'm telling you right now, I drive around in a fire truck with a med bag in it, and I'm not going to carry these around, and I know how to repair myself. So, but you're absolutely right. I literally just from memory tried to build it, and I came up with, like I said, which is super fun. And like I said, and both these colorways are amazing.
Oh, thank you. Well, it's funny because those are colorways I came up with, and there's a funny story behind the biomass monster from Pat Bussey. He approached me after a San Diego Comic-Con, and he had approached Spy Monkey Jeremy Sung about, you know, taking his character designs and sculpting them, and Jeremy referred him to me. And so him and I worked out a deal, and I sculpted the biomass monster and the MK1 mutant, not the one that he actually produced in China now. And Pat wasn't in the factory yet, but when I saw his designs, I immediately gravitated towards them. And my sculpting style evolved with Matt Dowdy, because Matt and I work so close together on all my designs that I literally come up with a concept without doing sketches. That's a funny thing. I don't sketch that much ever. I use the Castelline, the wax, the monster clay to actually sculpt as a sketchbook. And then as I go along is when I change, and it's kind of like using an eraser on drawing. But with Pat's figures, that biomass monster in particular, when I sculpted it, prototyped it, then I taught him how to cast the molds that I made. It was like his figure, that biomass monster with Kabuto Mushi and Nemesis. We built builds where they're triple figure builds using all the parts. There is one with just Mushi and Biomass Monster, and it's phenomenal. Pat came up with that particular build that both him and I ran a colorway, and then used that build as the official build for that colorway, those two different colorways. But it's cool to see. A lot of people are like, why aren't there instructions? And I'm like, well, I'll put a blow apart photo on, but I don't use instructions for a particular reason. Just what you showed. Is I'd rather someone open up a bag, take my advice, take every part apart, lay it on the table, and then just make their own creation, because I've used several people's ideas. I mean, this super mecha super deluxe Mushi, this was a build that a guy in Singapore did. It wasn't using all the same parts, but he started building these giant, you know, I mean, you look at the height difference, and it's Spy Monkey's parts with a Kabuto Mushi. And I just looked at his design, and then I just scaled it up to like a more complete version of it. But it was like, I like seeing people's builds like what you do. And I'm like, oh shoot, why did I never try that part there? Or why didn't I build it like that? So even as a designer and a toy producer, I love that guys don't leave the stuff in the bags, that they open it up, they mess around with it, they actually build. There's a lot of people that just, they're like, I can't build. I said the same thing to Matt Dowdy before I went into production. Is he finally forced me. He sent me 20 build men in like an infection clear red. And he sent me a bunch of access joints and Goban balls and phase arms. And he's like, here, build something. And I'm like, come on, man. I told you I can't build. He goes, trust me, you can build. You got enough parts, build something. I built this spider, which I have to this day. Maybe later when you guys are talking, I can go grab it. But it took me 6 hours again. I don't know what 6 hours is. It's like it always takes me 6 hours for giant builds, because I'll build something, take it apart, find a better part or fit function. But I built this big red spider. And when I was done, cool. I was like, holy shit, you forced me to build. I can build now. I know how to build now. I get it. It's like you had to undo your mind to what you know.
Right.
You know, because we're all used to traditional standard figures, and you get your action figures. Sure, you know, you swap parts. It's cool like the Mythic Legions and stuff where you can swap heads and swap parts and you can customize. That's awesome. But we're still in that concept of it has to look a certain way.
Like
And
a
I think
humanoid. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Like
I
a
think a
head,
lot of
2
collectors,
arms.
I don't want to say it's arrogance, but it's kind of toy snobbery sometimes where people are like, well, I don't get it. I don't want to build. I don't want to know how to do it. I don't want to know anything about it because it doesn't look to me when I look at it, it doesn't look like my traditional action figure. And it's like, okay, well, you're missing out. You're missing
There's like a certain high percentage of the experience with Glyos that is playing with the toys. Like the,
Yeah.
like a lot of toys, it's a lot of like especially high-end figures where that are like display figures where you pose it up and it just goes on your display or you take some photos or whatever. It's like
Yep.
it's a much different experience than a toy like this that you play with, you build, you
I don't
explore,
want to be,
you know?
I don't want to be, you're exactly right. I don't want to be arrogant, but Matt Dowdy is a massively high level of thinking. I mean, his brain works in ways that most people don't think like that or don't see things like he sees it. He is a toy encyclopedia, and he takes everything he's ever seen or known or played with, and then he adapts it to his toy lines. And you ever get any extended time to talk to Matt Dowdy about toys and building and concepts, and you all of a sudden realize you're talking to a toy genius. And I don't say that lightly. I mean, there's talented sculptors, there's talented designers, fabricators, prototypers, all that stuff, 3D sculptor, digital sculptors, all that. But when you talk to somebody that like literally understands toys, understands a higher level, it's like when you give your kid a puzzle, at 5 years old, and they're doing a 20-piece puzzle, and then you up it to 50, you up it to 100, you up it to my kid was doing 1,000-piece puzzles. This is no lie, in like 4th grade, 4 or 5 years old, and he never had problems in math, and he's getting ready to graduate now. He has a physics degree he got in 3 years, got his first B+ his last year of college in quantum physics. And I'm dumb in math, man. I'm super dumb. And I said, we're always talking about it. And I'm like, you know what I think the difference was? Is I saw you liked puzzles. I challenged you with these puzzles, and your brain thinks differently because of doing puzzles. I think Matt Dowdy with these toys, even when I sculpt a toy and I give it to him to check the fit function, the balance, the clearances, even a little bit of aesthetics here and there, Matt will unlock things that he sees that I miss or I don't see. And he'll say, have you thought about this? Kabuto Mushi is a fine example. The original Kabuto Mushi, these knee wedges were actually they were part of the torso, and they were up on the chest. And he goes, well, you need to cut those off and separate those, because then if you have those, you can put them at the knees in a more heroic stance instead of wide like a beetle. He goes, you could also, when you have them up in the arm, same thing with the arm. He made me disconnect the bicep because he's like, now you can pivot that arm across his chest. And I was like, the things that he saw in my sculpt that I didn't even see, and we designed it together because we went back and forth. And I'll never forget, I was at his house before New York Comic Con, and we're up in his toy room in the upstairs. And he was like, he literally had toys, mountains of toys. And it went from a pile on his desk where he could draw at his desk to his whole desk is covered in a mountain of toys, then the whole floor, and he had this outline where just his giant body could lay on the floor and sketch, and then he had a little side area where his little daughters would lay next to him, one or two, and draw next to him. Yeah. He literally had me down next to him on the floor. He drew Kabuto Mushi, his version of it. I had already done my concepts of it, and I'd already done some rough sculpts. And he goes, now draw yours next to mine. And I'm like, dude, that's like drawing on a Da Vinci. I'm like, I can't deface. I don't draw like you. You draw way better. And he forced me to. And then
I love his concept.
And it was awesome. So funny because Matt's vision of Kabuto Mushi was like tall and skinny, more Glyos, traveler-like. And my concept was more wide and broad, like a battle beast. And so I'll just tell you right now, if we can get Matt Dowdy on here next time, oh my goodness. I mean, listen to him speak. I mean, you guys got to hear him at the reveal, right? The Horseman reveal. Yeah. Did he get into that kind of like where he just you're just focused on everything that comes out of his mouth because he's like, yeah. I mean, it's all credit to him. I mean, I'm telling you.
It's an amazing
All right,
person.
so I just want to give a thank you to Jordan for gifting 10 DORKLAIR memberships. Thank you very much.
Cool.
That is awesome, and
Super cool.
congrats to those people who got those free memberships. For I believe it's you get a 1 month membership. I'm hoping maybe this weekend to do like a member stream. I used to do them just to have a little bit of a schedule where like my wife and daughter would do a thing on Saturday mornings, and I would do like once in a while I would get a chance to do a member stream, but I got to start doing some more member stuff. And then let's do the giveaway, because if we don't start doing these, we are not going to get to all of them. So the hashtag was Scarabite. Give everybody a couple more seconds to, if they weren't putting it in earlier, to get that hashtag in there. As a reminder, if you win one of these giveaways, make sure if you're connected with me on social media, you can hit me there. But if not, podcast@dorklair.com is my email. You can email me there. I'm going to write down, I have a sticky note. I'm going to write down who wins. But one more second and we're going to spin. All right, we got 48. Can we get to 50? Let's see. 2 more. All right, we might be topped out here. All right. 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Good luck. Guys, not dolls. Let me write that down.
But congratulations.
Don't call them dolls, Mom. They're my guys.
Action figures, man.
It's funny because
All
the room I'm in, I have a bunch of Monster High dolls that somebody on this show did a little swapping around with me.
Nice.
Wonder who that is.
I don't know.
So congrats, guys, not dolls. Shoot me an email or a message on social, and I will try to get that out probably by Saturday morning.
I like calling them dollies.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's funny because I heard a lot of people talk about the Figura Obscura Ghost of Christmas Past as, oh, it's a doll. I don't want it. Like it's too much of a doll. I don't want
It's
it.
gorgeous.
But the thing is amazing.
So
It's
gorgeous.
But hasn't that always been the problem
Visually so striking.
female action figures, or with girls like Ken dolls? It's kind of like the girls don't want the Ken doll, the guys don't want the female figure.
Yeah.
Peg
Or they
Warmer.
want like the Legions collectors want a warrior of some sort, you know.
Yep.
All right, so let me put this over here. And then next up we'll do, since there's been so much Matt Dowdy talk, we'll do the one from Onell, which is the Captain Corsaric. And I have a very similar one. I don't have that particular one, but I have a clear blue of this, and then I have the one that originally had the bird head on it, but in these colors that I got at LegionsCon. But yeah, this is a fantastic. I love the paintwork on this, and just the rich colors are
That one has
excellent.
the jacket.
Yeah, so it's got the cut jacket from the new Sea of Daggers line. It's like that jacket cut down. It's this jacket here that I showed earlier, but it's just cut shorter. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I didn't...
Okay. So let me get that set up, and then I just have to talk about something for a minute while I get this set up. Banner.
It's been funny too, since we've been sharing these pictures, and of course I'm in a couple of different groups on Facebook, the Glyos Alliance, which people recommended to me, and you see these figures, and I picked up some, and I'm like, oh, this one's really cool, and then you're like, you see, like I said, you go back to the colorways, and you're like, wow, that's a super cool version of that figure, and then you, like I said, you start to look, and I jump, like, for instance, I jump on Onell, and I'm like, 103 waves. Holy shit, you know what I mean? And I'm like,
the archive is insane. I love
absolutely.
it. I'm constantly going back to it.
And there's so many, and like I said, there's so much variety. You jump from Godbeast site to Onell's site to the Cappy space, and you see. I've been looking at all these different things, and you again all the similarities, obviously, because of course the interchangeability of everything, but the one head change or one color, and taking one that's 100% translucent color, and then adding just a couple of paint apps, and
Yep.
it feels like a completely different figure,
Yep.
and it's so cool because it really it's like you look at people and you talk about creativity, you talk about doing more with less, and
Yep.
that's one of the things that everybody always talked about, and I see that crossover from Mythic Legions of, well, we got four different knights. Well, they all look completely different. It's the exact same sculpt. They just on this one they painted the buttons, on this one they matched it to the tunic or whatever, and it's such a cool way to do things and give such a variety, and then to be able to take them all apart and create something that is yours.
You know what the
that's
hardest
neat,
thing,
man.
You know what the hardest thing is? You do a build and you love it so much and you don't want to take it apart.
Yeah.
But then you want those figures as your standard figure. And then you're like, damn it, I can't buy that many of the same figure.
Right. I can't buy dupes. Yeah, seriously. It's a tough. Yeah.
Well, I did that with I bought a couple of the Warlords of War there from Brandon as well at LegionsCon, and they had there was two different accessory packs for this guy, and I apologize, I don't know his name. Well, I'm like, well, I got both accessory packs, so then what I did was I bought two of them so I could do one accessory pack with each, because I'm like, well, I got to give it a shot, and then and then you open up one and this one's got a cape. I didn't realize they had capes. There's soft goods here too, and it's been nuts, man. It's been absolutely nuts.
Well, what's been really cool, Marty, is real fast. A friend of ours, Jesse, ordered his first Faden from Matt, and he said, "Steph," he's like, "Did you get this guy?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, well, what are these other parts in here? I said, "Well, let me see," and he shows me, the captain, something like this, and then he had the ball access joint, like
these access joints.
Yeah, but then he had this dope yellow skull, right? And I'm like, I've never seen that, Jesse. I don't know what you got. Hold on. So then I check my sources, and he's like, that was an old destroyed mold, and he just threw that in there. Yeah, and it was called a Glyos or something. I have the correct name, but I probably can't.
Yeah. Well, Matt back in the days, so he'd have literally like test shots, and he did these things called junk God, I'm trying to remember what he called them, junk something or other. And I went to his house, and in the upstairs, he was so picky about his figures when they first came that he would, if the paint was too heavy, he'd sit and clean up. I mean, his first waves, I mean, I'm pretty sure he ordered like 1,000 of each of the first, those ones we were talking about, the indestructible pocket travelers. If the
this
washes,
was a
Gobram. Yeah. So if the detail lines were sloppy or messy, he'd hand clean up all those figures before he put
hand.
Yeah, and he had all the figures came in little mini boxes with little vacuum form trays. So he'd open up the box, take the figure out, clean it up, and then put it back in. And anything that he thought was like not buffed out, where it came off the tree out of the PVC injected molds, he'd throw them in a junk bin, and he'd do these fistfuls. He called them fistfuls for a while, and you could order like, I don't know how much it was. It was cheap. It was like $10 per fistful, and Matt would someone would order like 5 fistfuls for $50, and Matt would take his giant hands and just like scoop. And I know Matt, he's super generous. People would get these orders and like, oh my God, and in those bins, because I dug through them once, I found test shot Govram heads. I found Gavram heads. I found test shot Thanos heads. There was I look at Matt and I go, man, I found 3 different black Thanos heads in here, unpainted, and they're all different sizes. Some of them are real bulbous. And he's like, yeah, that was every time, I didn't approve the test shot. It was like they had to size it down. And I'm like, oh my God, and these are just stuck in with your normal, production stuff. He's like, yeah, I don't care. Yeah. So
This figure, I the first order I placed was with Onell. When I got back from LegionsCon, I get the box. I'm super excited. I open it up, and this figure is in the box. I didn't
Hold it
order
close.
this.
Hold
I-
it close.
Let me see. Ooh.
I
Ooh.
didn't order this figure. I ordered 3 figures and I got 4. This was in the box, and on the little shipping label on the inside it said, "Thanks, Peter M."
Yep.
And I read that. I'm like, that to me, and like I said, and you know what? I don't know Matt very well. Maybe he has a harem of people that signed that. I doubt it. But I'm like, this guy
Yeah.
took, even if it's a half a second to say thanks, Peter M. He wrote that on there before he stuffed it in, threw in a free figure. And
Yep.
I doubt he even knew that it was that random guy he talked to at LegionsCon. So it's not like he did it because, oh, I met this guy. And I was like, man, how cool is that? I can't find it in the archives. I don't know what it is, but it's super cool, you know. But like I said, that little handwritten note on there was like, yeah, when he stood there at GCon and he said those things, that the way I felt about him and his passion for his craft and the type of person he was. Thanks, Peter M. That's it. I wasn't wrong about this guy.
Yeah.
You know.
No,
So
Pass that along.
he's a family man. He's the most generous. I mean, he's my brother from another mother, literally. And I've never known anybody that has a heart of gold and is more generous with every single. It can be a complete stranger, and just like you said, orders every time, all the time. He'll him or Michelle, his wife, when they're processing orders, they'll sign something or they'll throw something in. I mean, that's Matt Dowdy. That's the Dowdy family. Man, it's a government head. Yeah, it's awesome with detail lines too. That's awesome.
Just like you were saying.
Yep. Wow. Yep. I'm telling you, we got to get next month.
Yeah. For sure. I really hope that happens. Okay, so let's do this because I'm a little worried. We're not gonna get to all these.
Oh, I thought this was a 5-hour show.
No.
All right, so at 30 is a good number. Corsaric, again, it's you guys can't see me right now, but yeah, it's the brown one. All right, here we go. We're gonna spin it, and again, email me at podcast@dorklair.com or social media, and I will get this out to you by Saturday morning. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Good luck, everybody. Let me pull that banner down. Uniformed Bayesian? Wait. Bayesian. Uniformed Bayesian. All right.
Uninformed Bayesian.
Oh, uninformed. Uninformed. English teacher. I should learn how to read. Uninformed Bayesian.
Congrats.
Congratulations. That's a name I don't recognize. I don't think I've seen that name before.
I like seeing that. Awesome.
But yeah, congratulations.
Marty, so how often does Onell do drops? Somebody was asking.
You know, it's funny.
Is there any rhythm to the rhyme?
Well, back in the day, he'd do probably about 10 a year. It was almost like every month. In the last few years, he's done as few as like 2 or 3 a year. Seems like now he's picking up a clip to like maybe 5 or 6. And like for me, I would do 1 every other month. So I do 6 a year. And then I get caught by Chinese New Year and I'd be doing 5. And so last 3 years I've done 5. This year I only did 4. My last wave was on my birthday, and then I just kind of paused because of these 2 big shows. And like I said, I'm just submitting my order now. But Matt, it's no rhyme or reason. Like he has waves that he's never even released, that he's put together the mechanicals. We all have mechanicals we didn't do or pull, but Matt's got probably, I would wager to say, hundreds to maybe a couple thousand different. I mean, he's shown me stuff before, so he's going to drop it and he's going to produce it, and he doesn't. And then sometimes it'll reappear later on in a wave years later. So, but I would say about probably 5 times a year, 6 maybe. I don't know, something like. He's dropped down to what he used to be almost every month. He'd skip 1 or 2 months for like family vacation or something else, but. It used to be almost every month.
Wow.
I'd like to say thank you to Furious Figures. He mentioned that he believes that's a Buildman figure. I can't type in the chat because of an error with my daughter when she was 7. She took over my YouTube somehow and managed to get 77,000 views on her videos without her mom and I knowing. So that's kind of embarrassing.
You're saying Everett said that it was Buildman, the brown one?
Yeah, that's what Furious Figures said. Oh, okay.
No.
Well, thanks for nothing, Everett.
Tell Everett he's wrong, man. I'll call him. I'll call him after the show and tell him he was dead wrong.
I didn't want to type "thank you" from Piper Sue in a little picture of my daughter. I didn't want anybody to get confused. So
I'm trying to think. I was trying to think of the name of that figure. My problem is Matt releases so many figures and so many names for each, character names, but there's a mold name to the figure, and that one is. I've had a rough week. I've had long phone calls with Matt Dowdy, Jesse Moore, Cappy Space just yesterday. I was on the phone all day yesterday, so my brain's really fried. But it's not Buildman, I'll tell you that for sure.
It's a Delphi. Someone said it's a Delphi.
Delphi with a helmeted head.
It is a Delphi. That's exactly what it is. It's a Delphi. I was looking at it earlier. And that's exactly it. So who said that?
Groon 78.
He's got it. Bingo. Ching, ching, ching.
Ching, ching, ching. You win nothing, but thank you.
In Furious Figures, I appreciate you trying because there was a lot of people in the chat. You were the only one that tried until Groon hooked it up. So I appreciate you giving it a whirl.
So Pete,
Everett Miller doesn't get a ching, ching, ching. He gets a.
So Furious Figures is Everett Miller. That's
right?
his real name.
That's Everett Miller. Yeah.
He's in the Adventures of Pocket Glyos, and he's been pretty active in there. So I knew that name, but I didn't know the Furious Figures one.
There's
So
a new group. You didn't invite
Took me a while to realize that was him too.
I didn't.
Mark?
I shared it. I didn't really invite.
It's fine.
I'm one of those guys. I don't like to bombard people with group invites because what you get is you get there's almost like a forced obligation sometimes for people to join your group. So I just put it out there kind of into the ether and said, hey, if you guys want to be a part of this, we'd love to have you. But it's literally just the Adventures of Pocket Glyos. And what's super funny about that is because of that joke that came from LegionsCon, within 2 days, Matt Rodriguez, great friend, he's the one doing the Defenders of Eden toy line, an amazing artist, drew me my own logo, Pocket Glyos and Pete with a little. So there's a logo for this stupid thing that we're doing, and but yeah, just the Adventures of Pocket Glyos, and people are literally just posted a picture of what they're doing that day with their Glyos, and we're just having fun with it, man. And so yes, I didn't invite anybody in particular. I just shared it amongst some groups that I knew, because like I said, I'm that guy that I don't oh man, if I don't join this group that they asked me to, are they gonna be upset? And so I don't want to do that to people. But it's been a lot of fun.
I've seen it, and I'm wondering if I got an invite because I always join them, but I don't know if I did or not. But I saw your Pocket Glyos, and but I don't know if I got an invite. You guys send me one if I haven't.
All right, I will definitely do that now, especially now that I know your name after talking with you for 30 minutes at LegionsCon.
Right. Cool. You have to build one for your friends, Pete. You have to build one and give it to somebody. Use your extra parts. Do you have a lot of parts? Did you make a little part bin yet?
I actually do, and I'm actually gonna do this, and it's gonna create this little mess on my desk here. But so yes.
Very good.
This is just the first few that I bought, and they gave me a bunch of cool Warlords of War sticker. I'm like, well, how do you not put that on the bin? You know what I mean? So, but like I mentioned before we got started, this thing right here, like my family's going to be out of town next week, so I'm stagged for a few days, and I think it's going to take me that long to put this bad boy together. Because this thing is bonkers, but I had to have it, man. When I saw it on your table, I had to have it.
Yeah, that's the Xeno Glow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's the Xeno Glow. Well, you should try this build. Something like it. You should try this bad boy out because that will build a full mech Mushi, a Super DX Mushi. So yeah. So there's blow parts of this build, but that kit that you got, you can build that with it. Unfortunately,
can you build the bike?
Well, see, I was just going to get to that. Unfortunately, if you wanted to do the bike, which right here is the Kamen Rider. If you wanted to do the bike, you need one extra weaponeer set and access joint double set. They come, it comes with 2 of them with the Mushi in your set, but you need another double pack. And I had some of those separate for a while, but those Xenoglow, I don't think I do have an extra set of those. I should look around, because if I do, I'll just give it to you if I can find it.
I've never seen the Xenoglow for that.
Well,
oh wait,
no, the
that's
extra
that
set,
color.
well, yeah, that color I did.
I had the reactive
January, not this year, 2023 January, I think, or somewhere around there, February, January. And then I ran more Xenoglow and different characters. But I never break up the Mushi from the DX set. I either just run Mushi by himself, or when I run a DX set, I put the Mushi with it, because I know the builds that you can do having one Mushi and 2 sets of all that, the armory and the access joints. But I think I opened up one extra bag to pull a Mushi out, and I might have another double set of those. If I do, I'll send it your way. Awesome, but I have to make sure I have it before I commit.
Here's a question from Mark. Do
question.
all the different companies coordinate so that you don't release a new wave at the same time, since all the different Glyos companies work with each other?
Yeah, they do. We don't. It's all Matt orchestrates a drop list, so that nobody usually. I mean, there's a few guys that just do their own thing, and every once in a while you get a little 1 day or 2 day overlap of somebody that can't be patient. But it doesn't happen normally. Usually everybody adheres. We're a family, and they adhere to Matt's schedule. I know the last what was it? It was around September and October, somewhere around that time, those 2 months, there was 8 weeks of nonstop Glyos.
Yes.
and it's stressful, because everybody realizes that collectors, you can't be a completist. You can be a completist with one maker's stuff or a couple, but you can't be a completist.
Colorway or
yeah. But yeah, and as far as coordinating colorways, back in the day, a lot of times Matt would drop a colorway, and then other guys would latch onto the colorway, and they'd kind of orchestrate amongst ourselves to do the same colorway, so that there was more buildability. Anymore, there's not a lot of that going on. I'm trying to do one with Cappy Space for my next wave, and he wants to do maybe some Scarabite or some Scarabite reverse. I don't know, but we'll see. There might be a coordinated back-to-back drops of the same colorway with I don't know which figures in his catalog of his guys that he helps get their stuff produced. I don't know, if I don't know what characters will be. I know mine will be 2 characters. It'll be the same character. I'll do a Scarabite and Scarabite reverse colorway of one character from another company. And I'm pretty pumped about it. So I told Cappy about it yesterday, and so he's gonna, I think, try to coordinate a little something.
Steph, are you decorating your tree with Glyos figures right now?
She is.
That's
she
amazing.
Is.
I got this.
I'm loving it. Just the fact that you have a tree. Actually, you know what? If we have time, I had ordered an extra.
Did you?
And if we have time, if I get to it, that's going to also be part of the or maybe I'll just throw it in with one of them. That's maybe what I'll do. I'll just throw it in with one of the 4.
That's a really good one to get.
But that's going to go out. Yeah. So it's not the painted one. But there's not a lot of paint on the painted one anyways. All right. So the next one is it Valgarian or Valgarian? I forget how it's pronounced, but this is the new spaced out designs mold.
TJ's new character.
Is it Valgarian?
I don't remember, so I don't want to try to pronounce it and mispronounce it. But you're close.
Yeah.
It's an awesome figure.
Yeah, it's very organic. Actually, do I have it? It's not within reach, but there's a cool the painted one, the colored one is pretty cool too. But this was another.
Is this the Valgarian?
Yeah, there it is. That's a custom one that they did. Yeah.
Did you get a custom core one from PJ? A hand
That's what that is. Yeah. That's a custom one.
Bad.
Let me see.
Nice.
Let me see.
Hold on. Let me do this.
Yeah, that is a custom one. That's.
Yep.
Did you? Yeah, because I think you probably paid what, $25-$30 or something.
Oh, I have no idea. I just kept swiping my card, man.
I'm pretty sure it's one of his custom cores. There was only a hand. Yep, both those are. I know that. Yep. I know they are. I know the one on the right is for sure. Yeah, my son, I think snagged one, and then a bunch of Gabe grabbed one. I mean,
Yeah, they were
wow,
nice.
those were amazing.
Yeah, and the price, yeah, like you said, they were like not
Yeah.
much more.
And then he had
Yeah,
builds
to
on them too.
to
Like
hand
he had
paint
two
them
of
and
them together.
to hand paint them and
Yeah.
customize them, and they were like, I don't know, 20, I think max there were 30, but
Yeah.
you know, they were right there around 25, $30, and I'm like, you're kidding me. And I was like, wow. Like, I mean, it's awesome that you really love toys if you're going to do all that work and hours of painting, you know, so, and sell it for that price. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it was.
I had no idea they were customs. I jumped in. Like I said, I got it's called the Glyos Alliance, and somebody posted an up close picture, and his shoulder was in it, and he said, "Hey, I'm looking for this one. If somebody happened to grab it," and I posted, "Hey, I got this one. You said green, but I think you're talking about the other green," and that was how I found out it was hand painted custom. I had no idea. I bought it because it looked cool. You know? So
well, a little bit of history. If you go back in Matt's blog, and you go to the tab that says custom core, he has words on the side. And if you go to Matt's custom core and you go look at his catalog custom core, if you go look at eBay and you ever see a Glyos Matt Dowdy custom core 1, custom core 2, blah, 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 there's many of them. Or Jesse Moore from Calgrim, Raw Shark, if you go to his custom Calgrim core, and they refer to it as like a CCC for Jesse's. Man, you look at the prices of what those go for, because they are by the artists, you know, hand painted, a lot of time. And I mean, I just remember back in the day, I'd tell Matt, I'm like, why are you selling those for like, I think they're like 20 or 25 bucks.
Yeah, that's.
And now
cheap.
a lot of times, easily minimum, they go for $150 to $300 for CCC1 or CC1s. So yeah, the fact that you got PJs, man, 2 of them, that's pretty awesome.
yeah, like I said, I kind of went balls deep. So
yeah, you did.
I'm in.
That's awesome.
So the hashtag is Velgarian or Velgarian, and we're gonna draw it pretty quickly. It's getting 10-12.
Did you say Vagarium? Wow, Stephanie's
That's why I think maybe Velgarian might be right.
Her hair flipped when I said that. What'd you say?
It's my new name.
No offense, PJ. Just trying to spice your figures up, man.
Ghost 9 says, now I need a Glyos tree.
Yeah, it's fun.
Heck yeah.
They're perfect size for ornaments, honestly.
Yeah, I want to find a newer way too to hang them, but the
you need
that'll
to
be a
have
good picture to
vinyls
post
are
in the pocket Glyos.
You need to have a super deluxe Mushi at the top for your angel.
Yeah.
I think I like that idea better than what
That's a good idea.
Yeah. We have a stormtrooper helmet right now.
A tree made out of Glyos. There you go.
Yes. There you go.
Jesus.
You like the Christmas card?
That would probably be going balls deep, I think.
Yeah. Especially if it's like real tree size, you know,
Don't
like
give
6
Pete,
feet tall.
Don't give Pete any ideas.
Man, the tree, we got our tree this year. It was so expensive. We had to get like a tiny tree. It was so, trees are like, they've like doubled in price in the last like 5 years.
That's when you go artificial, my man.
I know I should.
Yep.
I don't know. There's just a thing about it.
Yeah.
The smell of it, and like my daughter, like maybe when my daughter's a little bit older, we'll start.
Yeah.
DORKLAIR, hi. Do you know when those Mythic Legion skeletons and knights are arriving? Yeah, they just did an update on the Four Horsemen social medias that the Necronominus wave is on the water, should be arriving probably in January and shipping to people by February. So I know that wave is delayed, and a lot of people say, I've been waiting 2+ years. And yeah, I mean, like pre-order was 2 years ago, but like it was supposed to release like 6 months ago. It's not, it's a 6 month delay. It's not like a 2-year delay, but those are coming. They're on the water.
Beluith.
Trees are starting to fight back. It's why they're getting expensive.
Oh.
The Velgarians, they're like tree people.
Yeah, they are like tree people. Can I enter? Or is that morally
Those are
correct?
like vegan figures, man.
Right. Vegarians. Jackie's here, Steph.
I know. Hey, girl, what's going on? Heard
She was
y'all.
on the Legion's Ladies. They must have just ended.
I was watching that. Yeah.
Jackie's the only person at LegionsCon that coordinates colors from hat to shirt to shoes better than I do.
And hair.
And
So,
hair.
Right,
Mhm.
right. Because I don't have any, unfortunately. So
Yeah, we can't braid any in your hair.
no.
Dear. I know.
I think I'm cutting my hair off this weekend.
What? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might shave the beard too. I'm like not literally itching, although I am, but like I'm really wanting to go short hair again. It's been a long time.
Try it.
So real quick, talking about facial hair. So my sideburns are relatively not traditional for somebody in the fire service.
Yeah.
And I had them before I joined the fire service. I joined when I was 18 years old, and like the captain at the time said, "Hey man, you can't have those sideburns. Like it interferes with your SCBA seal." And I'm like, "I don't think it does." And he's like, "Yeah, it does." Okay, so me being the rebel that I was, 18 years old, I put an SCBA mask on and I traced around it, and I grew my sideburns to match that.
It's like the bowl cut.
And it was a legit middle finger to this 25-year captain of the fire service. And so they kind of became a staple of me, and I've had them now for 23 years. And so now not only did I end up, and this guy's one of my greatest friends in the world, he's a mentor of mine, and when he retired, now he's on my fire board, like, so he oversees. So I followed him in rank. Actually, as he progressed, I went behind him, took his number, like his radio designations, and now he's on the fire board now that I'm the chief. And like I said, I literally built a new fire station 3 years ago, and I named the training room in his honor. Like, that's how close this guy is to me. And I still to this day have these sideburns that were a middle finger to him 22 years ago.
Oh,
And
Lord.
when I became the chief, a good friend of mine who's the neighboring chief has this handlebar style mustache. So I grew this out, just being funny because, well, I'm a chief now, I got to look like Al, and it's become a part of me. 2 months ago, I nick it, shave it, try to fix it, end up just taking it off. I walk into the fire station in the morning, and my guys look at me and they go home. Like, it doesn't, like, they were totally freaked out about this. And my wife didn't see it, of course, till I got home, because she was in bed when I left, and they were like, she's like, this is not right. She's like, turn the light off. I can't even look at your face.
So what you're saying is I need to bust out my flock machine and do a Pete custom and flock
Yeah.
trace around it.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Flocked mutton chops.
Thanks. I was worried the whole wave was coming in December. Well, the whole wave might be coming in January, so it's not that much. But I will say this, as somebody who does a top 10 list at the end of every year, and somebody who does toy reviews, I'm pretty happy that I don't have to like try to figure out how to squeeze this in last minute to my 2024 lists.
You have your list done?
No, I haven't
No?
even started it
You haven't
yet.
started
No,
yet.
it's a
We
little
tried to
early
start
still because a couple
Yeah.
things will still come in. I got to figure. I'm so much more into Glyos this year. I got to figure out how I'm going to incorporate that because I am
Right.
going to incorporate it in somehow. But
I'm
what?
sitting here figuring out, how do I put 38 Glyos on a top 10 list?
Right.
The math just doesn't math.
You just do it.
I'm gonna do what I did last year though, which was I came up with like a points system. So a lot of
Okay.
people, they just sort of like, and I always did in the past, they just do like, here's my top 10, my favorites, and here's why. But last year what I did was I picked my 10 favorite, and then I picked I think it was 5 categories, and I ranked them sort of like you do in like a weekly football league, where it's like one of them gets 10 points and one of them gets 1 point and everything else is in between. And then I did that for 5 different categories. Like, I had a category called hand candy. I had a category called, like value, like all these different sort of toy categories, right? Like, character.
You need to add a category that's pocket poker.
Right.
I think Nemesis or Mushi could make your pocket poker.
It's dangerous.
Pete's pocket poker.
I damn near have 10 of just the Nemesis. So
And the interesting thing about that ranking was it really changed how I would have ranked them. Like it just
Really?
shifted a lot of stuff around in terms of like like where I would have guessed it would have be. But yeah, I'm gonna do that again. I'll probably do like a Legion, like a 4 horseman one and a non 4 horseman one, like I did last year, and then
Okay.
you know,
'Cause
like
I'm
or a 4
wondering how to
horseman one and then
tackle
an
it, too.
everything one.
I tried
What's
doing
that?
it in one list. I said I might tackle it that way as well, because tackling it down to top 10 both, because like
Yeah.
all-time favorite figures that were released this year, like there were certain ones, you know, I was so passionate about it, I had to put in there. But it's hard, you know, it's
We
hard.
we
So it
ended
might
up
be a
doing
good
the
option.
we ended up doing the same thing back when we actually like gave a shit and did like appropriate stuff on our show and did our top
Mhm.
10s for the year.
Mhm.
That was, and it got to the point of where we said, okay, this is our Mythic Legion top 10, and then
Yeah.
this is everything else top 10, just because we were obviously so into that, and there was so much coming out that it was harder. Maybe it was Mythic Legion top 5, and then kind of a top 10 of
Yeah.
everything else of the year. But the other side of things too is, you know, when we look at our top 10, we always we looked at it from 2 different aspects, like top 10 toys that came out this year versus top 10 toys we acquired this year.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, because you get your hand on something that's cool, vintage, you've been chasing for a long time, a grail figure, that
Mhm.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that mixed it up a little bit to where it was, because, you know, you talk about toy news, hey, this is what's coming out, so you've kind of seen that, but hey, by the way, I got this year. So that's where you get your Megator from out of nowhere, because Steve ended up picking it up, you know, after 25 years of wanting it. So that was kind of cool.
All right, let's do this Bulgarian spin. Got 39 people. Last call on Bulgarian. Gonna spin it in 3, 2, 1.
It's appropriate.
Here we go. Not Bulgarian. Isn't that the Bulgaria? Isn't that a Fantasy series?
Ah!
Trevor!
Go, Trevor!
Nice.
Woo!
You got to photograph it if you win.
Yes,
So
yes.
so that's this one right here. There is some paint on here. The eyes are painted. I just noticed
they?
that. Yeah, it's probably hard to see,
It reminds
I
me
don't know
of
if you
this
can see
color faded.
but
It has painted
Yeah.
eyes as well.
yeah. Are they white?
Yes.
Yeah, it's probably the same color. So awesome, Trevor. And I already have your address, so I'll get that.
From
That's
the one that
information.
says it's red.
Trevor, that's the photographer guy, isn't it?
Duh.
Hopefully he'll take a nice photo of the Bulgarian.
Duh, Pete.
Oh, shooter. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Shooter McGavin.
Want to get some Red Lobster?
Go lay down by the
All right, how do I
bay, eat
get this
some
off?
hay. I just may. What do you say?
All right.
Oh, by the way, before I forget, if you don't have one of these, you got to get one of these, Pete.
Yes, Pete, you do.
Lego.
What's that? A Lego
separator?
separator? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Oh, I call it the spreader.
They are heavenly for Glyos popping.
Yes, you have to have
Good.
it.
I've been sitting here the whole time like this, so I'm glad you said something.
Yeah.
So that, and you need a hair dryer. I know you don't use a hair dryer, but you need a hair dryer.
You need a hair
So,
dryer.
but luckily, so my wife and I've been together for 23 years. 23 years. She owns a salon. I have 3 daughters, so
There you
hair
go.
dryers are
You have
not a
plenty.
problem.
That's awesome.
But I tell you what, you want to talk about getting judgmental looks. My wife's sitting on the couch. We're getting ready to watch an episode of TV together, and I come in with a handful of Glyos bags and a steaming coffee cup of water. She's like, "What do you?" She goes, "You know what? I don't even want to know. I don't even want to know." So,
Dude, I can't do the water thing because I never even tried, because all I can think of is it makes it more slippery if you're putting pressure on anything else. And I also like to control where I'm putting the heat, because I like to heat the actual holes, not the pins. And I don't want to get them too hot. I just want to soften them a bit, because you get them too hot, then you really got to let it sit or go put it in the refrigerator or freezer, because you need it to go back down, because obviously it expands. But if you get it soft enough to put the hard pin in, once you do, if you start jacking around with it, you'll have a loose joint. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, the joints are so loose." Well, some of these
They got to put them in the fridge.
Yeah, some of these big builds, all this PVC has memory. So if you ever do get a loose joint, some of these big builds, if I take them to con after con after con, eventually the hip sockets seem to get loose. So I'll get home, I'll pop the Mushi hips off, I'll heat them up, I'll squish the pin down, then I'll blow cold air on it, then I'll let it sit. And I'll do the same thing to the holes. Get them hot, let them sit, and they'll contract again. Then when I go to put it in, I put it in one time and let it sit. I don't jack around with it, because the more you jack around with it, you just keep loosening it. And I mean, it's nice that it has memory. It's nice that you can make those joints go back to the way they were. But a lot of people are like, well, this just sucks because no, it's all wobbly. And I'm like, dude, you got to do this. This is, it's just like anything. If you, if you played with an action figure on anything and you play with this joint too much, the only difference is it don't have memory. Those things, when you wear an ABS joint out, it's worn. It actually rubs and wears. These actually, because they're soft PVC, they don't wear. They just get worn and they expand and contract. And so you just got to mess with that a little bit when you do get a loose joint. But yeah, get a hair dryer, get one of your daughter's hair dryers or salon one, and get one of these babies.
Yeah.
I have about.
So what you're saying is
leave them laying around.
Get the hole nice and warm.
Yes.
And don't jack around with it too much before you put it in, and it'll last a long time.
Well, time.
Okay, I got it.
I was watching. I'm hoping. I'm like, oh, please, somebody come in, and that's all that they heard. I'm like,
nice and hot.
I don't know what kind of laying the dork is doing in the dork layer.
Stick the pin in the hole.
Right.
The holes.
The pin's got to be hard, and the hole's got to be soft.
All right,
that got real. My wife is going to kill me for a second there. That was home field advantage for a second.
That's the one.
All right, cool. So we got a Toy Pizza Goss armor. I think this might be Sea Goss. This is the one that got me into it, because this was, I think it was Billy Beige who did a review of one of these and had it in probably in my Facebook group. And
Billy Beige, I love that creepy little bastard.
And this was, so the other connection too is this was sculpted by Four Horsemen. I think it was Bill Mancuso. And so there's a connection there. And then that kind of that was the one that was like, okay, it's got a little more articulation. It's a little more in my wheelhouse. That kind of got my foot in the door. Of course, say la vie after that. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so
Bill,
we got
that
this,
is really
Goss.
awesome.
Bill, I have to take credit. I have to let Marty know. So Billy Beige, his name is William White, and we were on our show, and he was in the chat, and we started calling him Billy Beige to be funny, and it took, and he refers to himself as Billy Beige. Like we've gone out to dinner at shows, and he puts his name as Billy Beige at the restaurant. It's Billy Beige Customs, and that's all because of some stupid shit on our show. Yeah, all because of some stupid shit on our show.
That's awesome, man. I would have no idea. I'm listening. I'm like, that's kind of an ironic name. William White.
Will White, Billy Beige.
That's cool. Who came up with that nickname?
It was me, but Steve will say it was him. So.
All right, so we got the Goss hashtag. This will be the last one. It is almost 10:30. I'd like to kind of end it a little bit soon. But I will, like I said, I'm going to throw this in randomly with one of those four. So that'll go out with one of those four. And that's the brand new Bone Raider from Rocom Toys.
Oh,
from the Mighty Maniacs.
Yeah.
So I just want to keep this organized, Gus.
I just got a package in the mail from them last week too.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah. Couldn't help myself.
I got something coming from them. I have there was a lot of stuff over the last couple weeks. Like maybe it was a Black Friday kind of Thanksgiving week kind of thing, but there's a lot of stuff in the mail right now.
Because
tasty little package from Rocom last week. So.
Did you get the Purple Rain sticker? The purple glitter sticker?
I saw that. That's awesome. Because of the two cons, and then because of the 8 weeks of solid Glyos, different guys dropping, but then the two cons, you're always going to have after the cons, because just
leftovers.
Like Rocom, he was at decon only. And he had some neat displays too, by the way. That Moderius pink, I'm pretty sure that's Moderius pink. try putting that sucker under some black light. Man, that thing is sick. That's a colorway Matt came up with a long time ago. I believe it's a neon pink Pantone.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you put black light on that, it is sick. It is wild. I love that colorway.
Did you ever use it?
I love how
You know-
Dave just jumped into the chat and totally dimed Steph out. Steph's Glyos packages have been every day for 2 weeks.
Yep.
I don't have a portable blacklight to bring over here, but I just checked it out over there, and it turns it. Yeah, it turns it like white, or it's like a very interesting color. I'll have to try to take a picture of the one I have open.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
In the blacklight. I started keeping a blacklight on my review table. After Four Horsemen did the after they did the what was the guy called with the big ogre scale as a Hazar, and it had the greens that were like blacklight reactive.
Yes.
I started after that. I started putting that on there so that I can, when I do a review, if something's blacklight, I can have it available. You know,
after you get it hot and stick it in and don't play with it, don't turn on the blacklight.
So, I have a black light in my toy room, 2 of them actually, because it illuminates, especially the Glyos. But of course, I have all kinds of other toys that light up. But I literally will go to flea markets every weekend, and I can eye what Pantone paints I know.
Right.
Yeah. And so I purposely will pick up the dumbest stuff because I know it's black light, and then I'll set it, I'm trying to like cover every square inch of like little extra space in my toy room with black light reactive stuff so that when I do turn those black lights on, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Did you see that at DCon they had real fast that black light, like, so I saw George reviewing it. It looked really cool.
Where was it Rocom?
Installation. It was some installation.
Oh no, I did not see it.
Like posters and stuff like that.
Are you kidding me? I barely get to leave the booth
That's
when
true.
I'm at a show. I have to stand in the booth.
So
yeah, I did not. I missed it.
Enjoy yourself.
And of course, George doesn't come over to me and say, "Hey, Marty, go check this out."
Did Matt realize how much talking about Glyos is an innuendo? Well, he's a mastermind, so it's probably all part of the master plan, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I won't even go into like the dark mat. There's the public mat that's awesome and family man, and then there's the you know me too well. And I'll tell you the funniest Matt Dowdy story. Okay, he'll kill me for telling this. Okay. I was prototyping Ben Spencer's figure, and Matt Dowdy sculpted a head for Glaxor, and I prototyped it, and then I sent them to Ben. Ben painted them. They were for New York Comic-Con, and I'm up at Dowdy's house, and we go back to the machine shed to finish up Ben's stuff, and Matt was furious because Ben didn't send enough paint and for Matt to finish up what Matt had to do. And so we do this run, and we go to this hobby store, and Matt's known these guys for years. He's up there in Massachusetts, Acton, and there's this little hobby store 2 towns over, whatever, and Matt's not joking. We're in his little Saturn, and he's like, dude, they close at like, let's say 8 o'clock. And he's like, we have like 5 minutes, and we're on the exit ramp. And he goes, I'm not joking. These guys will lock the door. If you're just standing on the other side and you haven't opened the door and cracked it, they'll lock it right in your face and walk away from you. And I'm thinking, Matt's an exaggerator. I always felt like he was exaggerating stories. And the problem is too many times his stories are not exaggerations. So I get up there, and he literally is rolling probably about 5-10 miles an hour. And he goes, jump out. And I'm like, dude, I ain't jumping out. Just stop. I'm telling you, jump out. And he was serious. And he reaches over and opens my door and literally pushes me out of the car. And I jump on my feet. I'm kind of like almost falling, but I stay up.
To make it.
I get to the door. No lie. The guy's coming with his keys, and I crack the door. And I said, we called earlier about this paint. And he goes, you barely made it. The guy was super pissed. He's like, you barely made it. Fine. And he was like, boom. And he was so rude. I get out, and I'm like, you were telling the truth. Well, this is the funny part of the story. We get back. And Matt's cursing Ben up and down. I mean, the worst shit you can ever imagine coming out of, especially him. And it's just him and I in this machine shed. And I'm sitting down on a 5-gallon bucket, and I'm like doing some, I don't know if I was sanding, I don't know, I was doing something. And he was painting on these figures, and he's cursing. He comes by, and he does this, I can't even really do it in the camera, but he does this like robot. You know how tall Matt is, right? So he walks by me, and he goes like a robot. He's like, and and he's getting lower, and he gets right
I
by me. He turns his ass right to my face on the bucket and farts right in my face. And I'm like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me, man? I'm like, dude. Yeah, so that's a funny Matt Dowdy story from the days of New York Comic Con that, like, you would never guess that. Talking to the guy in person at a con, he's all super nice, super family man.
Beautiful man.
But when you're on that other Dowdy level, yeah, the innuendos about stuff. I will tell you one more funny story because I got to tell this. So on the biomass monster, Pete, that you were holding up, the 2 biomass monsters.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, you see the eyeball?
Yep.
Mhm.
So when I sculpted that, I hid. If you turn the eyeball vertical instead of horizontal, you know. So
Okay. Yeah, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Okay. So I sculpted like your eye. You have that little tiny, I don't know what's called, that little tiny dot.
Iris.
Yeah,
Iris.
no, not
No.
on the inside corner between where your eyelids meet. You have that little dot.
Oh, the ear duct.
Your tear duct.
Tear duct.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
whatever. But when you turn it vertical, you see there's no dot there.
Mhm.
Okay, let's just put it this way. I sculpted the eye to be a certain feminine look to the eye.
It's a vagina.
Yeah. So if you can
I'll
imagine,
get this one.
Hey,
In the corner-
and toy nerds.
That's
just
the
so
real
you know,
Vagarian.
You
Get
want to be
this,
right
get-
there.
yeah, get
That's
this,
where you
get-
want to be, buddy.
yeah.
Hey
so
guys,
right there,
take care of your lady.
right there. I had it right there. What was
geez.
supposed to be there? When Matt got a hold of my prototype, my resin prototype, he scratched it off. He knew because I made the mistake of telling Matt I hid that on there, and he scratched it off. And when we got the test shots, I was so pissed. I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you do that, man? And he's like, because it doesn't need to be there. I'm like, it's part of your eye, man.
Realistically, I do not doubt for 1 second that Matt literally is a genius. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out this toy line is you pop out the peg and you can put it in any hole you want on any figure you want. It's a toy swinger party, guys. It's really not. It's pretty blatant. It's not even a hidden
If you
innuendo.
needed another selling point, there it
Right.
is.
There you go.
Glyos is the most promiscuous toy line you will ever find.
So I want you guys to check this out. This is my toy orgy shelf. So
Vagina eye hashtag.
That's not the hashtag. It's Goss.
No,
We actually,
sorry.
I forgot. We have another giveaway.
Do you have a
forgot.
biomass monster?
All right, let's do the Goss. Let's spin the Goss jar. 50 entries. Look at that.
we've got 19 more members of the Adventures of Pocket Glyos just while we've been on the show.
Oh, nice. That's hilarious.
You've got some friends out there, Bill.
Okay. All right. So 51 Goss.
Torgy.
3, 2,
Sorry.
1.
Georgie.
Good luck.
Oh, I like that guy. Old Jonathan.
Edgy. It's gonna be the winner.
Hey, Blake.
Blake.
Recon Rage. Nice.
Nice. He did the,
All right. I probably have your address, but send it to me anyway.
Congratulations.
Just to remind me. Let me write that.
Oh,
down.
Jesse.
Blake.
Good one.
And again, I'm gonna put the Bone Raider, the pink Bone Raider,
That's a good one, Blake.
in with a random one of those 4 giveaways of those 4. Now this next one is separate. This next one is from Reynolds Cruise,
Oh,
the Forge
Yeah.
collection. Hold on, let me remove that and
Is it
put
the
myself
front
over
thing?
here. So he's working on. He's actually got some robots that I think he's trying to work into Glyos. But he has his static small
I want
3-inch
that. Yeah.
Galactic Brawlers Federation. And he's gonna give away
I
this.
think I remember
Set
That's
of
him.
super
3.
nice.
He was set up at Legions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got them
remember
too, Bill. They're super fun, man.
Yeah,
nice
they're
guy.
awesome.
In that carrier, you flip it over and it's the diode to stand them on. How neat of an idea is that, man?
Yeah, that's cool. So if you, I'm not sure
let
if
me
the
see
set he's giving away is going to be the box set with the stand, or if it's going to be, let me do it this way, or if it's going to be the 3 figures. I can't remember which is it's going to be.
We have the red.
But this is the set of figures, and then the reverse of this is a 3D printed
Oh, cool.
diorama stand, right? And so then you've got your 3 figures. So let me kind of show them off. Got this guy. You know, these are static figures, but tons of sculpted detail on these.
If I can be honest with you, I totally bought them thinking they were Glyos.
Oh, really?
I think when I talked to him, I think there was a couple that he had made, like a file or for like a Glyos pin, and I think he had some or that were Glyos type pinned out. Because I talked to him quite a while. I know he talked to Matt Dowdy for a while too about it.
Yep.
They were, and I realized before I purchased them, but cool guy, and I had to have them. The way he had them set up on his table, I was like, what a neat idea. They were super cool, and it was a cool little box set. And so, like I said, once before I purchased them, obviously I realized, but they caught my eye because I thought they were Glyos.
Right.
And of course, then I got talking to those guys, and like I do, they're just good dudes. Though there was 3 or 4 of them there. We were chatting it up, and I couldn't leave without them, man. They're super neat.
Well, you know what? When you've got an artist, a toy designer, whatever, and they've got a nice personality, and they're not arrogant, and they're very friendly, it makes their toys 10 times better.
Yeah, and that's them
for sure.
as well.
Yeah, and that's what I liked about that dude was like we talked, and there was you meet a lot of toy designers, and there's this level of arrogance, more so. I hate to say it, but in the Safubi collecting. And, when you do designer con and you do even the resin guys, like, I was doing resin back in the late 90s, like way back. And nowadays everybody was slinging resin. Now they're all digital sculpting and digital printing. But there's this, especially like Safubian resin slingers, there's a lot. I'm not saying all of them, but there's a lot of them that have this like competition that like they're competing with everybody. That's what's cool about the Horseman and Matt Dowdy of Onell Design. Matt's always that way with everybody. There's no competition. Matt's his own band, and Matt just wants to help people and wants people to make cool toys. And when the Horsemen were doing their Outer Spacemen and their Power Lords, it was like, and I know that everybody knows this now in the Mythic Legions collector, cabal and everywhere else, is that the Horsemen went independently and started off with the Glyos system. And then it spawned into the Mythic Legions. But it's like, you go up to any of the Horsemen, there's no arrogance. Those guys are the coolest guys ever. Matt Dowdy's the same way. And that's why us being at Legions, the Glyos family, it's like, it just feels natural because, we've always, even back in the days of New York Comic-Con, when the Horsemen were doing Outer Spacemen and stuff. I mean, those guys, I remember my son was 3 years old and we were at Wizard World Chicago to get a Keldor, and the Horseman took time to sign the head of the Boys Mattel toy line. He gave my son a Keldor because we didn't win it in the lotto. We didn't get our ticket pulled, and he gave him one, and then he opened it up right in front of everybody. Collectors were gasping, and the Horseman signed it and then speeded up to like he's 6th grade, so he's like 12 years old, and we're at New York Comic-Con. I'm like, can we get like a before, like we got the before photo, can we get like the after? And it was awesome because, there they were with my son again. And they've always been that way to all their collectors,
Definitely.
It's just cool. And that's why I'm talking about like this guy right here, the Forge collection that he makes those. He was that kind of guy. He's just a friendly guy. Like,
and he's an amazing, he like his paint work on the custom Legion stuff is amazing.
So it's like, top notch, man.
It's so rich. He has such a cool style with his paint work.
Definitely.
Did you get one of these, Bill?
You know what? I didn't. I don't know why.
I remember that.
I think you might be sending me one, but is that an articulated one or a static one?
It's a static one, but it's numbered on the bottom. I just noticed that.
Oh, it's numbered. Nice.
Yeah.
Sweet.
And like a little.
I feel like when he told me he was going to show me one that he had pinned out, but I don't think he brought any that were pinned out to the show, or he brought just one example.
Oh, he brought it.
Yeah, but I remember that character that you just showed, Steph.
Yeah. That's the one he was telling me that he's trying to get to, do like factory production Glyos with. So hopefully that'll work out. Rob Zamora, member for 19 months.
Go, Rob.
Got to meet Rob at
Did you? Yeah.
at LegionsCon,
I'm so glad
of
he
course.
came. He wasn't going to come
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
But then he made it. Made the trip.
Reynolds is one of the best dudes. That's right, Dave. Absolutely. Yeah, he's like he's beyond figures. Like he does a ton of stuff. He does cars. Like yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Mhm.
that.
Custom painting anything is so beyond like my scope of skill set. Like I'm absolutely just boggled by the amount of talent that I've met these last 10 years doing, toy collecting and shows and this kind of stuff. Like it just doesn't, like I don't even understand the concept of the color aspect, and I just don't get it. And to see what these guys and gals can do is just absolutely amazing. Like and Travis and I talk about it a lot because both Steve and Jeremy are artists and they're both very talented in their own ways. And Travis and I, like we don't do any of that. And it's just I'm constantly just amazed by the level of artistry and the level of creativity that we're surrounded by in this community. It's just absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, but you know what the best part is guys like you that can appreciate that, because there's so many people that just look at something and they don't look at the craftsmanship or the talent or the color theory or the paint techniques or the sculpting ability or anything like. And so when collectors appreciate it, like you just explained, that's awesome, because that you don't find that all the time. That you just don't. People just buy to buy or collect to collect, and
Says you guys need to do a Glyos for beginners, explain everything. See, like that's a weird thing. Like when I first started, I kind of wanted that too, but like it's almost impossible.
It's impossible.
Explain everything.
It's impossible because Glyos has been around for 17 years. I've been doing it for 12 years production. But I'll tell you what we can do is maybe when if Matt Dowdy, even if he doesn't come, whatever, I could do a build thing where I can put a camera down and take apart a Mushi and show it. I mean, but as far as the history of Glyos, dude, just go to Matt's blog. Go back to the very first post he made, and then he has got everything on there: sketches, concepts, production, photos from the factory. I mean, you name it. And if you really want to know the history of Glyos, everything's right there.
Yeah, and there's a lot of just so much that it's not something that you do on like a video or a podcast. But that's onelldesign.com for those of you who want to do that. Yeah, and there's a few videos. I know the Craftsman had a video, and TJ Omega has some Glyos 101 videos over here.
TJ Omega did a real good one, like a 101, and he did at the time, all the creators at the time. And then Craftsman, he told me to call him Oris. I've talked on the phone with him a couple times and helped him with his silicone molds, how to put Glyos pins in the mold and do your castings to have the pins, the PVC pins in them. And he did a couple real cool videos. So I mean, there's a few out there on YouTube, but the best thing is, especially if you're talking the parent company, the history of Glyos, is just start Matt's blog, hit every single word tab on the sides. I mean, it'll take months probably to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've been in this for a year and a half now. And I still feel like I just barely have scratched the surface on a lot of stuff, especially the lore of of a lot of the characters that, these creators have. Like, there's so much lore out there for the various lines that it's just like I'll never really ever be caught up necessarily. I just can kind of immerse myself and sort of just keep, like enjoying it and learning more and more.
Yeah. Well, if we can get Dowdy on here, I mean, you better make sure it's at least a 2-hour show, because if you really want to dig deep or get him talking about something, I mean, he'll tell you history stuff. I mean, if you ask the questions.
What we'll do is we'll do it on a regular. So the reason why it's 9:00 is because it's the Legions ladies night. So we alternate weeks, Thursdays every other week.
Yep.
And I just want to give them a little more time to like have their space to do their show.
Yeah.
But if we do it on my regular week, we can start at 8:30. We could even start at 8 potentially.
Yeah.
And then go to, go to 11 and it'll be fine.
Yeah. When you finally hit up Matt, Steph, or Bill, explain that to him that, was it every other week you have your normal slot?
Yeah.
So then give him those two
Options.
dates.
Okay.
Yeah. And then just say, can we hit one of these? Cause this will be a time where we can do it a little earlier. We can run a little longer. And then you could give a little more. I mean, trust me, I promise I won't talk as much. When Dowdy's talking, when Dowdy's talking, unless it's a funny story and he's bending the truth because it's something he's jazzing me about, I'm zipping it, man.
Yeah.
I like listening to him.
Me too.
All right, let's pull this up and spin for the Galactic Brawlers Federation figures. And those are clear resin, but you could totally paint those up. He has samples of his stuff painted up. I have one. I'm not gonna be able to grab it quickly, but those you could totally paint those right up and do your own customs with them too. I mean, essentially that's what they're for. Okay. All right. Forge Collection. 3, 2, 1. Here we go.
Good luck.
Good luck. Who's it going to be? Guy Segway. Nice. Echevarria.
Excellent roll of the tongue there.
All right.
That's awesome.
All right.
I love how the English teacher messed up the English earlier, but just nailed the Spanish, man.
Yeah, right.
Nailed it.
Right?
I always forget if it's Guy Segway or I think it's Guy Segway. Guy Segway. Anyway. Yeah, so message me, Guy Segway, and I will.
That's a nice set.
I will get that out. Again, I'll get these out by Saturday morning for sure. All right, let me then pull.
He's another one I met for the first time at LegionsCon and just had a ball with him, man.
Oh, he's an awesome dude. Yep.
That's definitely a name that he needs a shorter nickname because I would have butchered that name.
Well, I grew up. One of my best friends growing up, his name was Gwayan. It was actually a family of like crazy Welsh names. It was Gwayan, Aneirin, and Taliesin, but it was Tal, Nye, and Gwai. So maybe Gwaisigway is a Gwai, which would remind me of my old buddy.
I've never heard those names before.
They're very like Arthurian, like Gwayan is like Gawain, it's a very Arthurian kind of like Welsh.
I worked telemarketing when I was in college, and I'll never forget the first time the Vietnamese name Nguyen came up, and I heard this girl next to me, and she's like, "Mr. Nguyen," and I'm like, "What? You mean Nguyen?" I'm like, Lord.
And it's so funny. We were talking about kids and your daughter with puzzles and kind of learning that stuff. My mom swore my whole life that the reason I was able to read so early and so fluently is because we collected baseball cards as a family.
Yeah.
And my mom believed if you can read people's names, you can read anything.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's how you got started into reading, and that's how you picked it up so quickly was because you read those baseball cards as a 4-year-old kid.
Yeah, when it's real and relevant and you want to learn it, that's the best time to learn. And mine was comic books. So yeah, I could read at an early age too, but I was a visual learner, so I'm looking at comic books for the pictures, and then I wanted to know what it was saying. And so yeah, I got you there.
So is it? I don't get this one. Is it time to get Travis into baseball cards? Explain that to me.
Yeah. So the running joke is because Travis is a big fat idiot and he can't read, and he absolutely butchers some of our Mexican names.
Yeah.
So that's a reference to him being a big idiot, which is why we wrote a whole song about it.
Yeah, I didn't make that connection there. Him reading the bios and stuff.
Yeah, trying to pronounce half the mythic names is hilarious for all of us.
It's funny, you talked about not watching a lot of the shows. But like, and I have a hard time getting to all the shows because they're always at like dinner time, bedtime, like my daughter's bedtime and like that time of the day, like my show is too. But like your show, it's like it's Sunday mornings. Like there's not a lot going on, so it's actually pretty easy for me to like catch your shows. At least parts. It's a longish show, so I always catch a little bit of something on there.
Man, Sundays are flea market day, man.
I know.
The funny part too is for me is that, a lot of the time I like to watch, like I listen to podcasts every now and again. I'm a big music guy, especially when I'm driving, but I don't necessarily focus well on when I'm listening to stuff, so I can't do audiobooks and that kind of thing. So I like to watch. Well, I don't have a ton of time to where if I were to put one of your guys' shows on in the background, like when I'm at work, I'm going to be watching it because I want to see that.
Yeah.
And we train on Monday night, so I always miss Legion's Lounge. And so like there's just a lot of conflict as far as my evenings go because of my work schedule that I miss out on a lot. And so it's one of those things where I truly enjoy it, and I've been fortunate enough to be a guest on a lot of those shows and had an absolute ball. But it's just the time. I mean, and we typically dedicate about 4 hours every Sunday to our recording, and my life really only dictates about that much when it comes to podcast time. So
it's a chunk of time. I mean, if you
really
split it out, it's an hour a day. Like it's a,
I got a question for you guys. Have any of you guys gotten any Calgrim figures? Steph, you probably did from Gabe, right? Does anyone else have?
I don't have any Calgrims.
I wish I got.
Calgrim. I say it wrong all the time. I call it Calgrim. It's Calgrim.
I don't have any Calgrim.
So I got on one of Jesse's hoodies that I got at Game of Hope October of the last year. But I know he's got some stuff in his store, and anybody that has a Calgrim figure, Jesse Moore.
Raw Shark.
Yeah, Raw Shark, and I think it's Calgrim. I think it's Calgrim.com. It might be
shop.rawsharkstudios.com.
There you go.
Oh,
so I wanted to mention that because sometimes he doesn't run, like last year at PowerCon he ran a Man at Arms. I know that's right up your alley, Pete. But he's got other figures. He had a Deadpool right before that. I can't remember if that was a Designer Con. I don't know what's left in his store right now. But you should check it out because if you don't have a Calgrim, you need to get one. You do because he's the bounty hunter of Glyos. And
everything's currently sold out according to the website. But man, there's some cool figures there, dude.
Well, here's the deal. Listen, if everything's currently sold out, you can always email him. If there's a contact on there, email him. I know his boys were at Legions. Oh yeah, and when he does custom core, his Calgrim custom core. Like I'm gonna tell you what, don't miss that. And I'm pretty sure in 2025 he'll have a custom core at some point. Last year, this time he had just a handful. Like maybe it was just 2 or 3. I don't know. It was very few figures, and they were expensive. But he did one of Matt Dowdy's Armadox, and holy crap! I don't know if it might be on there. He has a blog on there, don't he? If he has his blog, go to his last blog. Or wait, hold on. Scroll back up. I'm trying to scroll on my phone. That's okay, right there. Right there. That one on the left. And
I have the Warp Bike. Is that the?
Yeah, those two. Yeah, that one. That was last year around Christmas time. That was his custom. Those are hand painted by Jesse. All the soft goods. I'm telling you what, you can't sleep on his site, even though there might not be anything right now available. Which I'm kind of surprised of because I know I just talked to him yesterday.
Krampus, that's so cute.
I know he had some I know he had some Man at Arms and stuff left over from last year's PowerCon and Game of Hope. So if you want some of his figures, just drop him a line, and I'm sure him or his sons will dig around.
I have that one.
Yeah, but those are great figures. There's 2 alternate heads. And then there's a backpack that the 2 heads the extra heads become part of the backpack, and the 2 guns plug into it, so it's like jetpacks.
That's cool.
If you
storage.
Yeah. So I just thought about mentioning that because he's got awesome characters, and it's worth checking out, and it's worth, if there's nothing there, it's always worth trying to drop a line, because a lot of these guys, if their shop is empty. Usually some of those guys have a few kicking around. I'm probably one of the few that, like, when it says sold out, I have zero. So, but a lot of these guys sometimes set aside some for customs, and they might be able to dig something out and part with something. But it's always worth a shot.
I have a lot of his like original, like when he would sell them, he would do like draw the art on the card.
Those
character.
You have some of those because those are custom core. Those are Calgrim custom core. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that.
If you have some of those, man, those are.
Hold on.
Those are a little of a cha-ching figure if that's what you got. If the card you're talking the old he printed cards of the artwork. So he did the original painting. Yeah. He did when he does custom core, he does little hand painted trading cards that come with each figure, each hand painted. So when he does it, he goes balls.
I'm gonna go look back at the ones that I have. Actually.
Yeah.
Speaking of trading cards,
old figures used to come with printed cards and header cards and all that. But yeah, I know he's got Man at Arms. I know that's not your wheelhouse there, Pete. But anybody else that wants Man at Arms, I know if you just contact him, I know he's got some for sure.
Speaking of trading cards, so I got this with that Toy Pizza, the Jesse DeStasio Patreon shipment that I just got today, and this is a trading card. It's the card slicers. I forget the name of it. Dark Santa or something like that. Erwin Papa. This is just beautiful.
That's cool.
This is awesome.
I love the holographic.
Nice.
Yeah. Dark Santa. Okay. All right. Well, I had a couple more. Let me just zip through. I think I had a couple more here. Manglo Skull. Oh, the Manglo Skull was the last one on there. Yeah. So it's another one. Like you could go on there right now and buy like Manglors and the Manglo Skull and stuff.
Yeah, so. that Mangler Skull guy. I mean, he's cool as hell. He's awesome.
Tons of detail in that sculpt. And there's a lot of other. If you go to the Glyos wiki and you look at that main page, you'll see like a bunch of the creators, and you can just click through to their shops, and there's a lot of stuff. You don't have to like wait for a drop. There's just like a lot of stuff out there. And remember to join the Adventures of Pocket Glyos Facebook group. See if we can get a couple more in there. Bring it to 20 before the thing is over.
Yeah.
One of the things Bill, if you don't mind, I wanted to kind of throw a shout out. We talk about this, the toy community, and whether it's Mythic Legions or Glyos or whatever, the people that surround this. One of our listeners, his name is Jason Straz. I got to actually meet him. He came to the live show at LegionsCon. He shot me a message a couple days after we got home, and he said, "Hey man," he goes, "I've got this Glyos later and I bought it. It's a Dan Larson Mighty Maniacs." He goes, "It's the only one I've got." He goes, "Do you want it for your collection?" I said, "Well, yeah, man, I'd love to have that. What do you want for it?" He said, "No, I'll just ship it to you." I'm like, "You don't have to do that." Well, of course he did. So he shipped me this awesome figure, but one of the coolest parts about it was, like I said, he thought of me and sent it. But I opened up the box, and he's also in public safety, and so it was a patch from his department that he works for, and so it's just kind of a cool because there's kind of a double connection there of the action figures, and then of course the podcast, and then of course our careers, and I just thought that was super cool because it's like it's amazing the connections you make over colored plastic. When it really comes down to it, so it's one of those things where like you don't ever expect that stuff, and you get that kind of that generosity from, like I said, fans and friends and whatnot. It was kind of super cool,
That trickles down directly from Matt Dowdy. You telling the story about the hand signed and the free figure in there. That's trickle down. It's all karma. It's all passing it forward.
Exactly.
That happens a lot in this community.
Yeah, it's important, I think.
So, Marty, well, first of all, I'd say that we're at the point where we can probably expect a January episode, and potentially like bringing this thing to like a monthly, right? I
know Nate really wanted to join in too.
We're gonna get Nate. Will be back on next time. We'll work it so that it fits with Nate's schedule, and if we can get Matt on, that'd be amazing.
I'm pretty sure Matt straight up said, that he loves you guys. I sent the first time we all met up, and I sent that to him like that night or the next day or whatever. And he watched it, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll do anything for those guys." Which really, honestly, I always expected him to. I knew he wouldn't probably make this one because it was kind of closing in pretty quick, and I hit him up late. But he definitely said he would be down in January. Now, whether those 2 dates work for him, hopefully they do. But I also know that Stephanie had mentioned maybe Pat Bussey. And I think, maybe, February or something. I'm sure I could talk Pat Bussey. Maybe you could have, I could talk to Jeff and Pat Bussey and get them both together to come on.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Jeff is Cappy Space. Cappy, he goes by Cappy.
I want to meet him. Yeah.
His name's Jeff. I could probably, because he couldn't come to Legion's last 2 years because it conflicts with his birthday. And he comes from Seattle, from Washington. So that's a 5.5 hour flight. Sure. On his birthday weekend, so it's just tough. Every year lands exactly the same, it seems like. But and then if there's anybody else that I'm sure I could get Brandon Barker from Warlords of War. I know Ben Spencer would probably be down if anybody's into vinyl Glyos, his Galaxors, and his other vinyl figures that he's. I think he's got like 4 figures now. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, and it's funny because when I got my foot in the door, because I like I said, 2006 is when I met Matt at San Diego, and he was trying to get me right there to jump on board with him, and I didn't because of personal issues. But when I finally did, it's like then I brought a legion of guys with me that I was already prototyping their figures, like Pat with the Biomass Monster, Galaxor, Ben Spencer, my friend Mark Vasquez, who handles my store. He had a bunch of wrestlers, kind of like muscle figures, but they were animals, and then there was one Glyos. There was 6 figures, 2 3-packs he made, and then Goliath, the Gator, had Glyos joints, and so we produced all those figures, and I helped prototype all those, and then Brandon Barker, when he came up with his figure, the first Battle Tribes, all those I helped prototype from a studio I was working at that did all the prototyping for NECA, and so a bunch of those guys, it's kind of like. I can't say I didn't get them in, but I did a little twisting and a little voices in Matt's ear nonstop to help those guys get their stuff in. And so this group of guys, I mean, they're all good guys, and I know I can twist some arms and get them to come on.
That would be really
great.
I'm sure maybe PJ from Spaced Out Design, Jesse Moore, possibly. I mean, Jesse and I are tight, and I know Jesse's not a real public guy, but if I was on with him, he might do it because I'll talk too much, and then he'll feel comfortable.
Kind of like me.
I never thought I could talk more than you, Steph. Come on.
Well, and that's in real life.
I know, right?
We go out to dinner. And you have like a whole gaggle of people that are coming to eat with us. I'm like,
oh God,
that was so fun.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Marty, will your next drop be before or after January?
After, for sure.
January. Okay.
I'll be placing it I'll be getting the estimate this week, or I'll place the order this week. I'll probably get the estimate by Monday. I'll pay for it, and then it'll be in February, and I'm hoping early February, because my last drop was on my birthday, September 12th. So it'll be a good long. I don't
chunk of time. Yeah.
I usually go every other month, so this is like a huge long wait for me. So anybody that wants anything from the store, like I said, I got one of these left, but I got plenty of stock in the store right now.
Is it still left? I have a hard time believing it survived this show. Hold on a second.
I think
there's somebody that posted about 9 times that he kept trying to buy it, but something wasn't working with the checkout. You know what?
So if that happened, somebody else might have swooped in and bought it when I said that were watching.
Right.
And so might have sold before they got, because there is only one.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing is that there's plenty of stock in the store, and that's why I kind of waited, because I stocked up this year before the shows I did. I mean, I did Indiana twice. I did the Chicago Toy Show. I did Decon. I did Legion's Decon. Usually last year I did 10 shows.
10 shows. I'm gonna try and get
10 shows last year. I mean, it was crazy. And of the 10 shows, I think 4 of them were in. One was in December, 2 were in November, and then I think 1 was in October. Yeah, Game of Hope was in October. So I did 4 shows in like a span of like 5 or 6 weeks. It was crazy. I was all over the place, and And so I've got stock that I purposely ordered a little more of to carry through shows last year. This year I stocked up because I knew I had multiple shows this year. I think I did 5 this year. I cut it way back because that was way too many last year. And the year before that I did 8 shows. So yeah, I'm probably the person that goes to the most shows. And yeah, and I try to make sure when people come to my store that there's enough stuff in the store that something catches their eye and then they can actually, shop,
Yeah.
It's hard. I know a lot of guys don't like to carry enough stock, but because they like to sell out and keep it tight. I prefer having a store all the time that there's choices and variety. It does kind of stink though when like the Zoloid from the Insectoid wave, the green wave, it's sold out. And now I got plenty of other green figures, but one of my triple builds uses a Zoloid. So it's kind of like, well, now that Zoloid's gone. So you either do a Mushi Nemesis build or, an armor. I have the Armivore Nemesis, the Mantivore. And this Armivore figure, I helped prototype this. Jason Fraley of NECA sculpted this figure right here.
Oh, I love him.
That's super cool.
Yeah. And that figure with the Nemesis, it's a 2-pack in the store. And it makes Mantivore, and I'll show you Mantivore. So you take those 2 figures.
Let me do that. Hold on one second.
Okay.
Hold on, big in you.
Let me put you up. There
Yeah, make me big. Make me big. So there's Armivore. He has a wolf head, and then he has an armored head, and he has a gun. And then there's Nemesis. And when you buy that bundle out of the store, and you combine them, you can make Mantivore, which is the Armivore Nemesis combined. And that's what I specifically bundled those. Not to cross sell, but I always wanted a Mantis Armivore because they are kind of derivative of Battle Beast. They are.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. And so I always wanted to see a Mantis Battle Beast, and then, helping prototype the Armivore, it's like, I was like, wait a second. I got the Mantis with the Nemesis, that comes with the standard Nemesis comes with our head. Here's another cool thing I wanted to show tonight. So this is Mike MZ passed last year. And I helped prototype this figure, the Zolan, and he comes with three extra heads, and one of the heads is this armored head. But when you take one of Matt Dowdy's access joint sets and you put you put those, you use that splitter, that Lego splitter, and you pull those balls, you called them there. Stuff. Yeah, you pull those apart and you put a half sphere at the legs. Okay. And you can literally trick them out. And then I put 2 scarves. I actually use an extra scarf from a set because you only get 1 scarf. But I also use the Armivore gun in his hand. Cool. But I mean, it's the same figure with 1 set of access joints, 1 extra scarf, and then I pop the Armivore. That's why I like to do squads of colorways so that you can literally, cross build. You have so many parts in the same colorway that you can make multiples. Yeah.
And that's, I think, is really prevalent in
it is. And you know what's funny? The other thing is like, so when I did this, the ones that Matt Dowdy designed the tampos for, this Venom and Carnage. So these are 2 Mushis combined. I tried to make bigger versions. And
so beefy. But they got 4 arms?
Yeah, because it's got 2 Kabuto Mushis, 2 Kabuto Mushis in one build. But then same way with Nemesis. So we did Spider Slayer. Spider Slayer, that's 2 Nemesis to make a deluxe Spider Slayer. And then here's a build of 1 Mushi and 1 Nemesis contained. It uses all the parts of both of them, except the Mantis head.
Very surreal.
That's cool.
Like that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the right angle. I can't.
And that's the Luna colors, right?
Yeah, that's the Metaluna monster. Yeah, the Luna. Yep. Matt came up with that colorway, and actually he ran that on an Outer Spaceman.
Did he?
Yeah.
That's probably why I was drawn to it.
Yeah, he did on Outer Spaceman, and then when I saw it, I was like, man, eventually I'll do that colorway. And Matt designed the brain. There's a brain tampo. Whoops.
Oh, I love the brain.
Yeah, we'll check this out. Can you see the brain?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick.
So it looks like your site won't allow checkouts. Square isn't working, and we can't buy gift certificates at all since no payment option pops up. I was able to, so I just tried it on my phone, and I was able to get the payment option to come up.
Yep.
And then when I choose payment method, it's Square.
Yeah, I only accept Square, and I'll tell you why. A lot of my customers were upset I don't do PayPal anymore. PayPal pulled a stunt on me early this year, like it was like in January, and I had a drop, and I got then after I packaged everybody's packages and dropped them off at the post office, I transferred all the money out of my account. And then I had next day I wake up and I had a couple $100 in there and they froze it. And they said, you have a $2,000 a month limit to withdraw your own money. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I was so angry. I called them up and they said, well, we'll free this up, but that's your limit. You need to apply for a bigger limit. I'm like, what? So then they did it again to me within a few days. So I called up and they said, apply for that. So I applied. And by the time I hit the send button, the enter, the return, it rejected me immediately. So I called them up again. I said, I'm not playing, guys. I'm like, you're not a bank. You can't use my money to invest or whatever you're doing with it and give me, like, let's say I had $10,000 in there after a drop or something. Okay. You're going to give me 1/5 of my money, 20% of my money per month. Get out of town. So I did. I switched my site. I know it's inconvenient for people, but it's just like if you go to a con and somebody swipes your card at a con. Yeah. Or with Square, it's the same thing. I'm using my regular.
But what's happening? So what's happening is, you select your shipping, and I was able to select my shipping on the site. It's kind of tricky. I wasn't able to do it on the desktop, but on the mobile, I could choose the shipping, and then payment method Square, and then enter my credit card, and then confirm order, and it says a general authorization error occurred. Please try again or contact.
I'll check that out. I'll talk.
Yeah, so check into that. Your site might not be taking orders right now.
Well, I mean, I must have sold one tonight because I sold that Zoloid, that Scarebyte Zoloid. But you might be right. I might be having an issue. I'll talk to my buddy Mark, who handles my store, and I'll get that cleared up within a few hours probably. But I mean, I haven't had any problems. I mean, I've had all my drops this year. No snags. It's ran smoothly. And there was a few people who are like, well, it sucks that you don't take PayPal. I think I had 2 people out of hundreds of people say they absolutely couldn't get it to work. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll just do this. I'll send you an invoice and we'll do it differently. But for the most part, yeah, if anybody's wondering why I don't do PayPal, it's because, in my opinion, they're corrupt. They want to use my money like a bank. Yeah. And I know they've done it to other Glyos companies. I'm not the first.
They did it to Four Horsemen. They screwed over Four Horsemen Studios, and they don't use PayPal either because of that.
Yeah, and I hate to do that because, I mean, I know it's convenient, but it's like they called me. PayPal called me a month ago, and I was on the phone for an hour with this guy, and I explained to him. I said, listen, I know you're in charge of trying to get my business back. I said, but I'm a small fish. I'm an independent toy designer. We don't get rich. We pay bills month to month the same way as everybody else. And I told him, I said, but you're not going to win me back. I warned you guys. I called in 3 times. Nobody handled it. And he goes, well, I think I have a solution. I go, no solution, man. I've already had my buddy rebuild my site to just do my Square. I'm done with you. Yeah. And so they tried to get me back, but I warned them. And I hate to say that, but it's like, I'm glad this got brought up because a lot of people wondered why I don't take PayPal. And I'm just like, yep, nope, ain't doing it. So it's inconvenient, but that's life.
The same thing when I open up vendor space for MesquiCon, and all of a sudden in a week I get this huge flood of everybody's vendor payments, and they start going, oh, hey, you got to hold until you prove that you've delivered the goods, and I'm like, I don't have any goods to deliver. It's vendor space for an upcoming event, and so they'll sit on it, and they'll sit on a portion of it, and I just sit and wait, and I'm like, I don't understand what your guys' problem is. So.
And you know what the problem is all of us Glyos guys, it's the same thing. You do a drop, you take the money, and you order your next, like within a day. I process everybody's order the same day I get it, and I ship everybody's order out on drop. I have 200 orders sitting here. I get them done in less than 24 hours and to the post office. So all my stuff was, I told them, I said, you can look through every single one of those transactions, have a tracking number to them, period. They're done. They're at the post office. You check the tracking, it'll show they've been dropped off. They've been scanned in. You can't hold my money. Like you have no right to.
That's crazy.
But what sucks for us is I thought about it and I thought, dude, this is not even viable because if I need to place, let's say it's like something like $10,000 and my next order is going to be $5,000 or something. I can't get $2,000 of my money to order my next order.
That's
ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you got to wire it. You put in your estimate, you have your estimate, you do your drop, you're ready, you boom, boom, boom. And to stay on track like that, it's got to work like that. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with you guys. I ain't playing that game. So I'm glad it got brought up because now it's out there.
Yeah. I mean, they have a long history of that, and it's good to bring it up and let people know.
Well, and
especially small businesses who are just starting out. A lot of
Small,
like,
mhm.
you know, sculptors and customizers
I mean,
and
yeah,
stuff.
we're
Like,
we're
be aware.
independent toy designers, and it's like we're just like everyone else. I mean, I do this for a living. I've done this for 12 years in production. Before that, I was just doing rapid prototyping for other people and some of my own. But the thing is like, I seriously told them, I know I'm a small fish, and you don't give a shit about me. And I figured to myself, like, they don't care. And when they called me, you know, last month, it had been like 8 months. And he straight up said to me, he goes, well, you know, your account got sent to me because we see you haven't used PayPal once. You're right. I haven't used PayPal once. I won't. I'm done. I don't even use PayPal to pay for anything. If I want to buy something, I've been using other forms of payment.
Yeah.
I just forget it. I'm done with you guys. You're not going to get a dime out of me no more. So that's it. So I'll work on getting it figured out, the square situation. Okay. So whoever was wondering, I'll take
There's
care
a couple
of it.
people actually.
Yeah.
I'm
try back again because
someone's gonna get that Zoloid, or
I
maybe the sold out Zoloid is like not registering, and that's causing the thing or something.
It might. I'll look at it and I'll check it out. And if anybody wants to message me direct, they can email me at the godbeastcustoms.com. Or sorry, godbeastcustoms@gmail.com. And they can message me there. They can contact me on Instagram or Facebook under Godbeast, the Godbeast. Yeah.
Unbeknownst to everybody, I already sent him payment via free coupons to my OnlyFans for that Zolite, so it wasn't there to begin with. So
your OnlyFans or my OnlyFans?
Eat the whole.
Well, either way.
Hold on,
this could be an interesting trade.
You want to see these sexy feet, baby? Are you a foot guy, Pete?
Yeah, I've been telling my wife, I'm like, you know, coming up on Christmas, we have 4 kids. Our oldest is married with our first grandson, and you know, added people for Christmas. I'm like, honey, we got to get those feet on OnlyFans. We got to make that side hustle money. You know, I got rid of our Aflac. We used to draw names. Most people draw names to figure out who buys who gifts. We would draw names to figure out which kid we pushed down the stairs for the Aflac money to buy gifts for everybody else. And I got rid of Aflac this year.
Hey,
so.
but Pete, you're a fireman. Why don't you have your calendar and your Speedo, man? Come on now.
Yeah, right.
It's actually they actually did. So one of the guy's wives for his mother for her mother as a like a gag gift for Christmas. They just did a photo shoot at my station a couple nights ago. I had a conflict that couldn't be there, but they were like, you Chief, are you sure we can do that? I'm like, yeah, just make sure there's don't make sure the logos on the doors aren't in there, but yeah, have fun with it. It's a fun gift for somebody's mom, you know. So
that's hilarious.
I got a text.
The truth came out, man.
I got a text midway through, and it said, "If you want to laugh, pull up your station cameras right now." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh my god.
So,
wow.
Lord.
All right. Before we go, I just want to mention that DORKLAIR will be back next week on our usual week, and we're gonna have our yearly, very special DORKLAIR Christmas episode where me, Chris, and Larry. And yes, Chris will be on. We will exchange gifts and we will browse. We'll pick a year. We haven't picked the year yet, but we usually pick a year from the 80s from a Sears and or JCPenney catalog, and we just browse the toy section and chat it up and exchange gifts and celebrate the Christmas time. So
nice.
Thanks everybody.
Cool.
Thanks Marty. Thanks
Marty.
Pete.
Stef,
thanks for co-hosting.
Yes.
And we will be back with another Glyos episode in January.
Yep.
And until next time, may the force be with you.
Follow me into the door.